Don't worry, don't worry. The guard didn't want to listen to the man, so he just waved his hand and said, this is only a special period. There's an order from the superior. If you want to catch someone, it's so strict. When people catch it, it will be the same as before. So it is. That's good. That's good. The man said with a lingering fear. And now, I'm looking for faces. Today, bodyguard Zhang was sent to take care of Jijie. That's why he changed me. Don't worry, the faces of ordinary acquaintances are okay. The guard said, but remember to take the pass with you. Ah. Don't worry. I'm sure I have. Come on in. Don't delay us. The guard waved and the man finally left the gate. The conversation between the two fell in Yunwu's ears. Until the man left for a long time, Yunwu was still hiding behind the stone, his brow locked. Well. The young master in his arms wakes up after a sleep, and just sends out a syllable. Yunwu makes a silent gesture. Shadash, the young master cleverly closed his mouth and looked up at the little fat girl lying on the shoulder of Yunwu. At this time, he was learning the way of Yunwu just now. Holding a finger on the edge, the young master could not help but tilt his head and really didn't say a word. Cloud Dance frowned and looked at the guards who were strict in front of him. He didn't let go of any of them. No matter who had to have a pass to get in, if he met a new face, he would have to check again. It's really strict. Cloud Dance sighed and said. Originally, I thought that I could just pretend to be a person in the fairyland, but I didn't expect that there were so many rules for Yuguishan. And the way these guards check just reminds her of one thing. It's very strict for Yuguishan to enter and leave. From the conversation just now, it's not difficult to infer that most of the people here are Yuguishan's disciples and their families. They have lived here for generations. If they appear rashly, even if they escape the examination of the guards, how can they make others not find that they are strangers? A woman who came to Yuguishan alone, with 2 children, thought it was too similar to the picture on the wall. Gigi goo goo. Hiding in the little fat girl, the little potato chirped a word, as if to remind the Cloud Dance what general. Yunwu's eyes are bright, right? Since you can't let yourself leave this strange face, just let everyone can't see you. But I have hidden pearls on my body. Thinking about this, Yunwu immediately took out the hidden bead from the portable space and urged it to move. As soon as the hidden bead was used, not only the shadow of Cloud Dance disappeared, but also the little fat girl on her body and the young master in her arms. Cloud Dance hearted joy, big square from behind the stone came out. Even so, but still did not walk past all of a sudden, but a little bit close to the gate. There are bodyguards beside the wall with their own portraits. They seriously check everyone. Even some people are called by them before they get close to the gate. All the people line up and walk towards the city. Yunwu walked out from one side and carefully entered the guards. However, with the distance getting closer and closer, the guards seemed to have not seen Yunwu at all. If they were other people, they would have been ordered to stand in the team by the guards. Until then, Yunwu finally felt relieved. The young master and little fat girl in their arms didn't make any sound, so they let Yunwu take them into the city. Stop! Who are you? What a strange face! Just as Yunwu stepped into the city, the bodyguard behind him suddenly gave a cold drink. Yunwu's steps stopped in an instant, and almost immediately she wanted to take out Guwu's sword, but then she heard another voice. Ah! I'm from Badeo Villa. The man's voice sounded behind him. Cloud Dance turns ahead to see One Eye. See, just now the bodyguard that talk is with other bodyguards together encircle a man to examine carefully. Cloud Dance heart a loose, hastened to speed up into the city. In the city, people come and go. Yunwu stands on the street, and no one can see her. The cries of vendors and the greetings of acquaintances are like a paradise. Yunwu didn't expect that the huge Yugue mountain would look so harmonious. Even after entering the city, there was a map of the whole Yugue mountain on the roadside. Cloud Dance walked past for the first time and looked carefully. This jade mountain is so big. Cloud Dance exclaimed, although originally no quite big, but did not expect more comprehensive than their own imagination. Throughout the city, mercenaries, auction houses, residential areas, markets, everything. On this sign, there are also the living rules of the immigrants in Yugoshan, which indicates in detail that the residents of Yugoshan are only disciples and their families, and other immigrants are not allowed to live for more than a month, let alone have houses in the city. In this way, isn't it easier to be recognized as a stranger? Cloud Dance frowned and said. Just thinking about how to do it, I suddenly caught a glimpse of a corner on the brand, right next to the market. Although there was no sign, Yunwoo intuitively told herself that there must be a black market. Only this kind of place is the most suitable for the black door to stay. With this in mind, Yunwoo went to the black market without hesitation. Standing in the middle of the black market, watching the people coming and going in front of me, holding two children, I suddenly felt confused. It's really a black market. It's a mixture of good and bad. Cloud Dance exclaimed. It was surrounded by peddlers and tramps sitting around the corner with their hands on. But Yunwoo can't find a place to live, even if she can find a place to put her children down and let them have a good rest. He sighed dejectedly and walked slowly on the black market, but he didn't know where to go next. Hidden Pearl. Suddenly, a voice appeared behind Yunwoo, with indifference and laziness, but the three words he said made Yunwoo's heart thump. Who? Yunwoo felt nervous and turned to look behind him. He saw a slovenly man with stubble on his face, dirty and shabby all over, like a man who had just climbed out of the garbage heap. And he looked at the face of indifference, eyes on the body of Cloud, still no expression. If he is not the only one looking at himself, Yunwoo really thinks that he is looking for the wrong person. Cloud Dance suddenly felt a sense of crisis. This man is good or evil? Who are you? Cloud Dance frowned and began to speak. Who would have thought that the man actually only raised his eyelids, lazily looked at Yunwoo, but did not say a word. How do you know the hidden pearl? Cloud Dance frowned, indicating that she was very confused. A slovenly, bearded and seemingly ordinary man sees through himself hidden in the hidden pearl, and the Cloud Dancing heart suddenly sets off a storm. The man still did not pay attention to the Cloud Dance, eyebrow fine-tuning looked at the Cloud Dance and then turned back. Cloud Dance quickly catch up, hey, where are you going? But the man was still expressionless, and even didn't care to look at her. Yunwoo kept calling after him, but followed him to a room beside the alley. Where is this? Yunwoo seems to be used to his silence, but he still asks. It was a long abandoned mansion. In front of the house was overgrown with weeds. Even several pieces of marble at the door had been dug away. On that mansion, a signboard which could not read clearly was hanging obliquely. Yunwoo stood outside the house, looking at the door which was not closed. Can I come in? Yunwoo asked. At present, there are unfamiliar places everywhere, and I don't have a place to settle down. It's not easy to meet a person who can see that he used hidden beads but didn't say anything. He shouldn't leave easily. It's just that this person doesn't pay any attention to her. Cloud Dance is very helpless, since the man did not answer, simply she directly sat on the floor outside the door, the two children in his arms. Duh. All the way has not opened. The mouth of the little fat girl suddenly opened, a pair of big eyes pitifully looking at the Cloud, like hungry. Alas! Cloud Dance helplessly shook his head. This day and night she did not eat. Where the milk? Behind the willing, the man did not seem to see her in general. Cloud Dance considered for a while, and finally asked, do you have a house to borrow from me? The man still did not answer, doing what he was doing. Yunwoo wanted to ask again. Suddenly, there was a lot of noise outside the alley. Yunwoo's face changed, and she stood up. Her whole body was covered with fighting spirit, but she forced her down. Duh. She hid quietly at the door and looked at the entrance of the lane. She only heard the voice of the search team coming from the entrance of the lane. It sounded like a large number of people. Yunwoo is a little anxious. He looks around in a hurry and looks for it. But suddenly he sees the room where the man just went in. The door is hidden. It seems that he is telling her that she can come in here. Eyes a-turn, the corner of the mouth of Cloud Dance starts to put on a light smile. She swerved into the house and closed the door. Excuse me. As soon as they entered the room, the search team had arrived, and countless people's footsteps and noise were hovering outside the door. Here, you two, go and have a look here. Look over there, too. In a hurry, the footsteps scattered at the door of the house. Cloud Dance he at the door through the gap looking at the people outside, only to see that group of people gradually scattered in the door. When the danger was relieved for a while, Yunwoo let out a long breath, and then let go. It's finally dispersed. Yunwoo turns to see the house, which is very dilapidated. The land inside was overgrown with weeds, and the mansion was covered with dust. There was nothing inside, except a pile of useless garbage. Everything was covered with a thick layer of dust. The only thing that can enter the eye is the stool that the man is sitting on. Where the hell is this? Do you live here all the time? Yunwoo asked. After the man found that he was hiding under the hidden bead, Yunwoo felt uneasy, because she didn't know where it was, and whether the people here had reached a certain level, she could see the existence of the hidden bead. Hidden pearl, will it be ineffective? Cloud Dance frowned and thought. After thinking for a long time, although the man can see the hidden bead, in order to protect himself, Yunwoo still does not remove the hidden bead, because the hidden bead will eventually cause some interference to people's vision. More security or more security? Her whole person has been in a defensive state, looking at the man sitting on the chair, her heart is still uneasy. And do not know the identity of people living in a room, but the door is in danger, there is no kind of situation than Yunwoo now more embarrassed. But whoever thought that since Yunwoo came into this room, the man didn't look her in the eye. First he sat on the chair, then he ate the food he picked up from outside, and then he lay on the ground next to him, with his legs up and his eyes closed. Hello, can you say a word? Yunwoo asked tentatively again. This man is really strange, his voice reverberates in the empty room. However, the man still ignored him. Yunwoo felt that he was making trouble of himself, and he didn't take care of him anymore because he didn't drive him away. He wandered around the abandoned mansion, walked 2 rooms, and finally found a relatively safe place. I went in with my 2 children and found a place to sit down everywhere. I reluctantly nursed the children and took care of them to sleep. Seeing that the 2 children had gone to sleep safely, Yunwoo was relieved at last. Turning around, she saw that the man seemed to be asleep, lying on his side and motionless, so she closed her eyes. Sit with your knees crossed, look inside your body, and begin to practice and regulate your breath. The voice of the search team outside the door still came and went, but I don't know why the people of the search team didn't enter the house, which made Yunwoo feel quite relieved. Finally, after the search team had been making a lot of noise outside for a long time, everyone had to concentrate outside the alley. No, boss. Boss, I don't have one either. There was a pause outside the door, and then the whole search team had left. Cloud Dance vomited breath, feel his heart almost jumped out, he looked at the 2 sleeping children on the ground, the corners of his mouth showed a maternal smile. Well, you should go. Suddenly there has been a silent man said a word, just these 5 words, Cloud Dance can't help but squint. Yunwoo's murderous spirit, but the man didn't seem to feel it at all. He stood up, rubbed his dirty hair, and turned to one of the rooms. Seeing the figure of the man disappearing in the house, you breathed in the clouds. How can she go? She won't leave here when she doesn't find a new house. Although I don't know the origin of this man, Yunwoo saw that the man just said a word, but he didn't mean to do anything more, so he thought for a while, and finally walked over to him and said, I don't have a place to go now. Can I stay with you for a few days? The man didn't seem to hear the words of Yunwoo at all. He didn't mean to go to bed, but now that Yunwoo finished, he found a place to lie down and turned his back to Yunwoo, as if to sleep. Seeing him like this, Yunwoo knew that he didn't want to take care of himself. However, thinking of his 2 children and the present situation, Yunwoo kept silent for a while, and said again, when I find another place, I will never forget the kindness of the chivalrous today. Yunwoo stood by the door and waited for a long time, but still didn't see the man's intention to open his mouth. He couldn't help frowning and didn't ask any more questions. He just left a light, nagging. Then he turned around and went out with his 2 children in his arms and began to look for a room to live in. When Yunwoo left the door, the man turned his back to her closed eyes and finally opened them. A pair of deep black eyes flickered with inexplicable meaning. Then he changed his sleeping posture and murmured, "Everyone has his life," which made him fall asleep completely. And now the other side. Who? A fierce wind blows the curtains around Long Qingxie and raises his hair. There were 2 maids standing by the big bed, standing quietly by the bed. Breathing quietly, the sunlight outside the window projects into the room, and the whole project is on the body of Long Qingxie. Everything here is full of dark energy. Long Qingxie constantly absorbs energy, and the breath in the body gradually becomes strong. Finally, Long Qingxie opened his eyes and suddenly sent out a burst of intense dark energy. "Are you awake, my lord?" The maid beside suddenly exclaimed and turned to look at the dragon. "Well," Long Qingxie whispered. His eyes were full of confusion. He didn't seem to know where he was. Generally, he was just a habitual response to the maid's words. "Great. I'm going to tell the elders." The maid looked so surprised that she turned and ran out. It was only after the maid had left for a long time that the confusion in Long Qingxie's eyes gradually disappeared. "My lord?" Long Qingxie narrowed his eyes and gave a sneer. "These people are polite to themselves, and they even call themselves adults. If not, I would have been confused by them." Long Qingxie turned to look out of the window. The sun was burning outside. However, Long Qingxie clearly felt that the dark energy had not decreased. This place was not as simple as he thought. Not long after that, the maid who ran out just now came back with a group of people behind her. Long Qingxie sat on the bed, closed his eyes and ignored. It seems that he is still very weak, but in fact, it is because he is too lazy to deal with these people. When did he wake up? A man's voice came, obviously asking the people around him. "Elder Hui, in less than a cup of tea, I went to inform you as soon as you woke up." It was the voice of the maid just now, and the tone was full of respect. "That's good," the elder said, but he was in a hurry. The party immediately entered the room. "Shh!" The elder made a silent gesture, and the people behind him immediately stopped. Looking at the dragon on the bed, the elder was pleasantly surprised and quickly went forward. "Are you awake now, my lord? I've seen you concentrate on your cultivation these days, so I didn't come to disturb you. Our patriarch is very concerned about your situation and says that if you wake up, you must let me invite you to come over at the first time." Long Qingxie raised his eyes slightly. The corner of his eyes was slightly lazy, and he was still so evil. He immediately made the elder smile awkwardly, scratched his head, and said respectfully, "Well, you might as well clean up, and then follow me to see our lord." "Lord?" Dragon Qing evil mouth asks away. There is light confusion in eyes, seem to want to suppress intentionally but inadvertently leak out general. As soon as the elder saw him like this, he had no doubt at all, so he quickly said, "Yes, sir, have you forgotten?" Long Qingxie squinted, "Why don't I know what patriarch?" The elder laughed, "You are really joking." Long Qingxie hooked the corner of his mouth and said with a sneer, "What character is your patriarch?" This words, Dragon Qing evil whole body's prestige release instantly, although the strength is not very strong, but it has a kind of superior pressure. He doesn't look like a man with amnesia at all. The elder's heart clattered and thought, is it difficult that he has not lost his memory? Where does this look like a person in a strange environment? Well, I don't know if you think of anything now. The elder asked carefully and tentatively. What do you say? Long Qingxie asked, with a sneer on the corner of his mouth, which made people confused. The elder felt more uneasy. How could the dragon be different from what he expected? The elder only felt that he had a look on his body. He always looked at himself as if he wanted to see something from himself. After a long time, the elder even felt that he knew what he had done to him. After thinking for a long time, the elder only felt that the sweat on his forehead was going to seep out. Finally he hardened his head and raised his head to look at the dragon. At the moment of looking at each other, the elders suddenly saw a trace of confusion in Long Qingxie's eyes and a look at the surrounding environment and the people he brought. Just for a moment, he was suppressed by the dragon's evil, and his eyes seemed to have never appeared before. Elder Aleng, immediately in the hearted joy, originally he is pretending. Because of the fear that people around him have a threat, so deliberately pretend not to lose memory. In this way, the elder was not nervous. Instead, he was smiling at the dragon and said, "My lord, it seems that you really don't remember." Elder, satisfied with a smile, turned to the side of the humanitarian, "You quickly to clean up for adults to see the lord." Several maidservants nodded quickly and went forward. "Sir, we are here to serve you," said the ladies respectfully. Long Qingxie's eyes swept back and forth on all the people, and finally closed his eyes. With a faint, it was a default. Half an hour later, several maids finally came out of the house with dragon's evil spirits. They followed the elder and went to the place where the patriarch was. Long Qingxie then gradually saw the appearance of this sect clearly. The whole sect was wrapped by dark energy. This dark energy was quite pure, like mist, around. Many disciples of the sect were sitting in the square practicing, with their eyes closed, and the black energy was boiling like water. And he also found that most of the people here are unfathomable. Are the people here so strong? Long Qingxie frowned and thought in his heart. He is already the strength of Wuling, and no one can surpass him in the human world. But here, Wuling is so powerful that he can't see through the strength of many people. Long Qingxie was shocked in his heart, but he didn't make a sound on his face. He really looked like an adult. He was led all the way to the main hall. The towering mountains are full of lush trees, and the stairs spiral up all the way, which is majestic and sacred. "My lord, I know you may have a lot of questions, but it's okay. You should know that you are our adult and we will take care of you. When you see the patriarch later, ask him if you have any questions," the elder said respectfully. From pretending to lose his memory, the elder's attitude towards him suddenly became very respectful. Long Qingxie couldn't help thinking, is it because of some extraordinary plan that these people arrested themselves? In front of him, a man came down the stairs and said something in the elder's ear. As soon as the elder's eyes brightened, he hurried to Long Qingxie's side and said respectfully, "Your lord, the lord is waiting. Please speed up." Soon, the party had come to the main hall above the steps. In the main hall stood a group of sect disciples, all dressed in white. However, the white clothes were totally different from the black smell they sent out. Long Qingxie pursed his mouth, bowed his head and did not speak. He just followed the elder all the way into the main hall. But unexpectedly, the patriarch was not in the main hall, and the elder still guided him all the way through the main hall and all the way to the back of the main hall. But I found that behind the main hall, there was a huge platform. On the platform, a handsome young man, dressed like snow in white, sat there, on a simple wooden table, on which the water in the teacup was steaming. "Sit down, please." The patriarch turned to see the dragon and said with a smile, "Things are busy in the sect, so I can't see you often. But I always pay attention to your situation. After such a long time, you finally wake up. What about? How are you feeling? Long Qing's evil heart, how about my body? Are you responsible for it? It's funny to look like that." But on the face, it was quiet, just Light said 2 words, "Okay." The patriarch said with a faint smile, "Don't hide in front of me. I know you have lost your memory. Just ask me what you want to ask." As soon as the voice fell, the dragon's evil body suddenly burst out a strong dark breath, just like an agile leopard, it may attack at any time. "My lord." Below, a crowd of elders exclaimed, as if they were afraid that the dragon would collide with the patriarch. Clinker, but the lord raised his hand, said, "No harm." Then he turned to look at the dragon and said, "Don't worry, I won't harm you." We are all family. I just want to answer your questions. Long Qingxie and the patriarch looked at each other, and they did not give in to each other. After a long time, Long Qingxie seemed to confirm that he had no threat to himself. Then he put away his momentum and asked coldly, "Where is this place?" "Oh. Don't you even remember your own home?" With a smile, the patriarch took a cup of tea and turned to the other side of the platform. "This platform is built in the air. Under the platform is the abyss, and in front of it is a heavy mountain, surrounded by clouds, floating among the mountains." "Your own home?" Long Qingxie pretends to be puzzled and asks. His sight sweeps around. Finally, he looks at the patriarch with a puzzled face. "I don't think so." The patriarch shook his head helplessly. Su said with a smile, well. If you can't remember, you can't. You were exiled until you lost your memory. Not long ago, we accidentally rescued someone who was seriously injured, so we quickly brought you back for treatment." "Seriously injured?" "That's right." The patriarch said, "You are seriously injured. We have used many methods, but we still can't keep your memory. But it doesn't matter. Anyway, you've gone home, and you can catch up with the sections." Long Qingxie's brow was wrinkled, and he had no impression of what the Lord said. "What do you want me to do?" Long Qingxie said. "Yes." The patriarch said, "Originally you are a member of the sect. It's natural for you to do something. But after all, you have been exiled for a long time. I'm afraid you've been used to things outside. There are some problems with the sect. We need everyone to help the sect, but it's purely voluntary. If you want to come back, you will restore all your previous identities. If you don't want to, it doesn't matter. We can put you down now. This is really a good choice, but I don't know where I am at this time. If I leave here now and can't find the cloud dance, this place is full of powerful opponents. If I don't pay attention, I may lose my life. Come on, have tea." The patriarch said that he would pour some cool tea out of the tea bowl, replace it with a new one, and push it to the front of Long Qingxie. Long Qingxie could not help but frown and look at the tea. He pondered for a moment and poured it down. Sure enough, Long Qingxie sneered in his heart. Although he knew what was added to the tea, he wanted to see what these people were up to. In front of the scene are blurred, with the appearance of the patriarch, and finally, a dark. The patriarch looked at Long Qingxie lying on the table, bowed his head and said with a smile, "Come on, lift him to the underground array." The two men came forward, carried the dragon and left the platform. The elder quickly came forward. "Lord, how is this man?" The patriarch nodded with satisfaction, and a faint smile rose from the corner of his mouth. "Yes, I think it's time for us to start our plan. The white light shows that the Son of Light has come into the world. It's too late to start again." The patriarch narrowed his eyes and showed a smile. The dragon, who was carried into the underground array, was placed in the middle of the array, and several people quietly withdrew. In the array, a gurgle of black energy, like a spring, rushes into the dragon's body. The whole body makes a clattering sound, but the dragon seems to have no feeling. The energy is more and more rich, and all of them are poured into the dragon's evil body. Long Qingxie's body suddenly seemed to be caught and began to twist strangely. At last, he began to frown, and the sound of clicking became more intense. There was a sharp groan in his mouth. Then, blood began to come out of his mouth and nose, and he kept twitching, with blood flowing from the corners of his eyes and ears. The black qi all over his body wrapped him tightly, his muscles and veins almost all broke, and the black energy began to reshape him constantly, making his body take on a new look. In this way, day after day, the patriarch and the elder came to see Long Qingxie lying on the ground covered with blood. They were all exclaiming and wondering if this man was going to die. But Long Qingxie didn't stop breathing and didn't wake up. These people had to leave disappointed. In the main hall. "Lord, do you think this man can really be used by us?" The elder asked, full of worries, "But I clearly feel that this person can't survive the pulp washing this time." In case he becomes a useless person in the end, we've all worked in vain. The patriarch sighed, with a gentle and helpless smile on his face. If this pulp washing is successful, then he will become our weapon. If it fails, there will be only one way to die. Just wait patiently. You are too impatient. The elder sighed and stopped talking. I don't know how long it took, but suddenly there was a boom under the ground. Long Qingxie suddenly opened his eyes, and his energy suddenly shattered the stones around him. He sat up and looked down at his body, surprised. What did the man drink for himself? Why suddenly, his body is so strong? Suddenly heard someone's footsteps running down from the top, with a voice. The Lord said he woke up this time should be completely for our use. You have to be careful not to be hurt by him. People who have just been washed can't control their energy. Long Qingxie took a deep breath, sat in the middle of the array, and closed his eyes. He's sitting up. A person exclaimed, walked forward, but couldn't help but let out another exclamation. Dragon Qingxie slowly opened his eyes, and those eyes were full of confusion and indifference. The golden eyes were like a pool of golden lake, deep and bottomless. It seems that he really forgot everything before. A man stepped forward and waved hard. But see Dragon Qing Evil have no reaction at all, just sit quietly. That's great. Go to inform the Lord quickly. No. Behind him, a voice suddenly appeared. They bowed to give way and let the patriarch come down. The patriarch looked at Long Qingxie's confused eyes with satisfaction. Very good, this man really lived up to the expectations. Turning to look behind him, the patriarch pondered for a moment and said, in this case, I will name him, Dark Emperor. At this time, in the whole fairyland, because of the deliberate spread of sects, the setting off of the Sun of Light, and the awakening of the Dark Emperor, all sects began to be vigilant. The appearance of the Dark Emperor, the Lord of Darkness, and the fairyland, where the Sun of Light has just been born, is even more sensational. Everyone is thinking about the relationship between the appearance of the Dark Emperor and the birth of the Sun of Light. And Dark Cloud Palace and Jade Return Mountain, these two places, again in the planning of what extraordinary things. Not long after the birth of the son of Guangming in Yuguishan, the Dark Emperor awakens in the Dark Cloud Palace. Now, I'm afraid the world will be in chaos. I'm afraid the Dark Emperor came for the Son of Light. You say, the Sons of Light are born. Where is the Son of Darkness? Hey, stop it. One Dark Emperor is enough trouble. Another Dark Sun. The whole fairyland people began to talk about it. For a time, the two sects, Dark Cloud Palace and Jade Return Mountain, became the chatting after dinner. Dark Cloud Palace. Dragon Qingxie sits in his room and quietly closes his eyes. In this place, the energy in his body is growing very fast. He feels that his body is like boiling water, constantly rolling. The energy in his body is like falling rain returning to the lake, slowly gathering in his body. After a few days of heartbreaking pain, Long Qingxie was pleasantly surprised to find that his body seemed to have become a lot lighter. His whole body seemed to be full of light. The original world, in my eyes, seems to come to life suddenly. Every tiny thing can be caught by myself, even if the particles in the morning fog are flying in the air, even if the water drops on the leaves are rolling down from the leaves. This makes him feel happy. Looking inside his body, the meridians are plated with a light, it seems to be more solid, and the strength has become stronger. Open your eyes and look out of the window, this place is really puzzling. Outside the door, there are still a large number of Dark Cloud Palace disciples who practice hard day and night. He looked inside his body, and there was nothing unusual. He turned his head to see that the maid was standing on one side, motionless. He got up, got out of bed and went out. Standing at the door, the maid bowed respectfully to the dragon, and then continued to stand in the same place. On both sides of the door, the four maids came up and followed behind, but said nothing. Long Qingxie was a little impatient, but when he turned to look behind him, the four people kept a distance of about 4 steps from him. He stopped, and so did they. He turned his head and they bowed. What's the order of the Dark Emperor? You don't have to follow me. I'll walk around and get familiar with the environment. Long Qingxie said. The two maids looked at each other, saluted him again, and said, "Back to the Dark Emperor, the Lord let us not leave you all the time. If the Dark Emperor wants to go shopping, just go shopping. We'll follow the Dark Emperor. We can give orders at any time." Dragon Qing, evil heart helpless, know these two people won't agree to his request, immediately casually waved, had to ignore them, continue to move forward. Long Qingxie is dressed in black and has golden eyes. He has a strong aura. He is followed by two maids standing respectfully behind him. Therefore, wherever he goes, he will attract the attention of the disciples of Dark Cloud Palace. Helplessly raise the hand to knead the eyebrow center, the dragon inclines evil some to feel powerless. What's wrong with the Dark Emperor? The maid behind him asked as soon as she saw him like this. Long Qingxie sighed, turned to the two people behind him and said, "I'm going to find the Lord now. Don't follow me." That said, Dragon Qing evil instant speed up, behind the maid also want to follow, but he was forced to throw away. Throughout the Dark Cloud Palace, there are numerous buildings. After walking around, the dragon found that most of the buildings were guarded. Strange, I didn't think it was so strict before. Long Qingxie said in doubt. He inquired around and walked towards one of the buildings. I thought that if I was stopped, I would take the patriarch to oppress them, but this time no one stopped me, so I went in smoothly. Well? No one. The Dragon Qing evil pick eyebrow, really some surprised. He doesn't know his status in the Dark Cloud Palace, but from the current point of view, at least, they regard themselves as one of them. With a little peace of mind, I went into the building. There are 6 floors in the building. After the gate goes in, there is another door inside. As soon as Dragon Qingxie gets close to the door, 2 bodyguards have respectfully opened the door and are waiting for Dragon Qingxie to go up. I've seen the Dark Emperor. The dragon didn't stop and went straight forward. Just on the 2nd floor, Long Qingxie's eyes were completely attracted by the 2nd floor. It turns out that this building is a library. In the library, there are books all over the wall. I picked up a book and looked at it. It was all some of the best practices in the human world. However, here, it was placed casually. Fairyland so strong. There was a deep flash in the dragon's evil eyes. He looked up at the upstairs, there was a door in front of him, which was still guarded by 2 guards, so he continued to walk up. When he was on the 3rd floor, his skill was obviously more advanced. He became more and more interested. He went straight up and didn't stop. He just went up 1 layer at a time. On the 5th floor, the dragon was stopped. Please forgive me. You can't go up the 6th floor. Long Qingxie couldn't help frowning. He just looked at the gate leading to the 6th floor and felt that there was something really hidden on the 6th floor. Why not go in? Dragon Qing evil pretends not to feel of ask away. Lord Hui, it's the Lord's order. Long Qingxie's eyes swept over them, and then he said, okay. Then he turned and walked downstairs. Out of the library, Dragon Qing evil a little bit to identify the discovery, and finally toward the next building. It's still 6 floors, but it seems that the 6 floors are all information from all over the world, important deployment of each place, fortress, and so on. But when it comes to the 6th floor, it's still stopped and can't go in. Are all the 6th floors taboo? Long Qingxie shook his head helplessly and said, looking at the serious man standing at the stairway on the 6th floor, he still gave up. I came out silently and saw a thick fog rolling on the whole back mountain. The dark energy also rolled in, and abundant energy came. Long Qingxie is walking around aimlessly. Suddenly, he hears the voice of conversation in the room not far away. With his eyes drooping, he slowly moves to the house in front of him. The Lord asked us to come, but what did he tell us? A clear voice came out. Long Qingxie stood at the door and looked inside through the window. He saw that there was a council hall. The elder and a group of leaders of Dark Cloud Palace were sitting in it, while the patriarch Lian Ting was sitting in front of everyone, silent. Long Qingxie moved in his heart and got closer, hiding in the dark of the door. You said that the Son of Light was born in Yugui Mountain. Lian Ting didn't answer the elder's words, but he asked another man below. Yes. One of them respectfully said, we have reliable news that the Son of Light was born in the hot spring of Yugushan. On that day, a ray of light came down from the sky, and many people saw it. Standing outside the door, Long Qingxie's heart moved. He didn't know why he was excited when he heard the news. He couldn't tell where he was excited. If the Son of Light was born in Yugushan, it would be a great help to them. The other man's voice was a little heavy. Since ancient times, we have been holding each other's hands. But now that they have a Son of Light, I'm afraid it's not good for us. Yes. It's said that if there is light, there will be darkness, but I don't know where the Son of Darkness is. One by one, the voices of discussion came out, and Long Qingxie wanted to hear something more, but suddenly there was a fury in the room. Who is outside? The secret way in Long Qingxie's heart is not good. As soon as he is ready to leave, he suddenly thinks of the strength of the people inside. His heart sinks. Instead of leaving, he comes out in a big way. The door of the chamber was opened, and several people in chief's clothes stood at the door. It's me. Dragon Qing Evil Light said, no taboo. Why are you? One of them, a man in white, raised his eyebrows and asked, who asked you to come here? I walk around, but I come here. Long Qingxie raised his head and looked at the man in front of him with golden eyes, without any waves. No one stopped me. The man couldn't help choking and looked behind him. Sure enough, the gate was open, and the guards stood at the door, frowning and sighing, you go, don't go in and out here casually in the future. Long Qingxie didn't speak and turned to leave. But suddenly, he seemed to think of something. He turned his head and asked, what did I hear just now, Son of Light? What is that? Suddenly, the man's face became gloomy, and a surge of energy came out of his body. He looked at the dragon and said in a cold voice, boy, don't listen to what you shouldn't listen to, don't ask what you shouldn't ask, hasn't anyone taught you? What's going on out there? Inside, the voice of Lian Ting came suddenly, which shocked the whole body of the man. He quickly turned around and said, Lord, it's the Dark Emperor. He ran to the meeting hall. Let him in. Lian Ting's voice came out from inside, very clear. The man opened his eyes wide and was stunned for a long time. He thought he had heard the wrong thing, until Lian Ting's voice came out again, what are you doing? Why don't you come in? Ah, yes, Lord. The man was in a hurry. He turned his head and looked at the dragon. He hummed coldly, you are lucky. Turn around and walk into the room with the dragon. As soon as I entered the room, I saw a group of people sitting in the room, dressed in white, around a table. Lian Ting was sitting in the middle of the room, looking at the dragon with a smile, here you are, come in. What's the matter? Lian Ting's face is always with a smile like the spring breeze, but Long Qingxie has a sneer in his heart. I came here by accident. Long Qingxie looked at Lian Ting without blinking, his face was still indifferent, and his golden pupils were empty and indifferent. Lian Ting motioned Long Qingxie to sit down, but the elder around him was not happy, Lord, he is not. Well, it's our people now. Lian Ting waved his hand with a smile, interrupted several people's obstruction, and continued to signal Long Qingxie to sit down. Let's go on. Lian Ting said, so I plan to send someone to Yugushan in the near future. I don't know if you have any good candidates. When you returns to the mountain, waves suddenly appear in Long Qingxie's heart. He doesn't know why. Long Qingxie thinks that it may have something to do with the cloud dance. He sits on the seat with his head down and in silence. Lord, we can't lose face when we go to Yugushan. I think it's better. The elder suddenly spoke. His eyes turned to Long Qingxie, who was sitting on one side, and said, let's let the Dark Emperor go to Yugushan. On the one hand, we can frighten Yugushan. On the other hand, we can also let the Dark Emperor know about the situation there. After all, he has just awakened, and many things are not well understood. After hearing this, Lien Ting's eyes were bright. He turned his head and looked at the dragon. On his handsome face, he immediately said with a smile, "Don't say, it's a good idea. The reputation of the Dark Emperor is already out. If we don't make the Dark Emperor public, they will think that we are from nowhere." Everyone around us talked about it, but there were still different voices. But the Dark Emperor has just awakened. I think it is necessary to observe for some time. We don't know his strength and his current situation. There are too many unstable factors. If there are any problems in the middle of the way, I'm afraid it will cause irreparable consequences. Yes, yes. From time to time there are people around. Lien Ting turned his head and looked at the dragon. His eyes were full of spring breeze smile and warm eyes of trust. "What do you say, Dark Emperor?" Sitting in the crowd, Long Qingxie looked around, but frowned. Finally, he said faintly, "But what is the Son of Light?" People around, all silent, no one answers, do not know how to answer. Lien Ting lowered his head, pondered for a moment, and finally said slowly, "You go and have a look." Long Qingxie took a deep breath and lowered his head. The whole person was in the dark and uncertain shadow. His golden eyes were light, but no one saw them. "Good. Since you agree, that's great." Lien Ting laughed and turned his head to the people around him. "Go to write a letter to Yuguishan, saying that we have found the Dark Emperor, and heard that the son of Guangming was born in Yuguishan. I'm here to congratulate you, and I want to send the Dark Emperor to visit." People around him quickly took out pen and ink, wrote it down, nodded repeatedly, and then carefully wrote the letter, put it into the envelope and handed it to the maid beside him. The maid turned and left. "Well, that's how it's done." Lien Ting was smiling and obviously in a good mood. He turned to the dragon and said, "If there's nothing to do today, it's better to have a drink with me." Lien Ting left the meeting hall with Long Qingxie. Countless people I met along the way bowed to Lien Ting respectfully, and then continued to practice. In the past few days, Long Qingxie has been sober. What he has seen seems to be the way these people practice martial arts. This sect seems to have nothing to say and nothing else to do except practice martial arts. Although all the people are alive, they seem to be walking dead and numb. Long Qingxie receives God and continues to follow Lien Ting forward. "I remember I promised you to ask any questions, right?" Lien Ting turned around to look at the dragon, with a gentle smile on the corner of his mouth, "But it seems that it didn't materialize that day, but today you can ask. If I can say anything, I will tell you." Dragon Qing evil heart a belly of doubt, hear Lien Ting say so, in the heart immediately a loose. From the place full of dark cloud palace disciples, they walked all the way to the house and stopped after the highest house. As soon as they got up to the top of the mountain, which was shrouded in clouds and fog, they seemed to be flying. They found a place to sit down everywhere. Then a maid came forward and put down warm wine for them, which was fragrant. Sitting in the cloud, Lien Ting couldn't help but close his eyes and sighed, "It's really a beautiful scene. If there is nothing else in my heart, then sitting here is a more perfect thing. What did you give me that day?" Long Qingxie holds the wine in his hand and suddenly asks coldly. Lien Ting is stunned. He turns around and looks at Long Qingxie. "Do you mean before you wash the marrow?" When the wine in their glasses was full, Lien Ting laughed. "Last time I gave you Tongyuan water, which can help you wash away the turbid qi, but it has a great risk. If it wasn't for your strong will, I'm afraid you wouldn't be sitting here talking to me now." Long Qingxie knew it in his heart, and his whole body trembled involuntarily when he thought of the feeling of suffering in those days. But now, as Lien Ting said, his whole body felt very relaxed, as if it had been cleaned up, the impurities and turbid qi in his body had been cleaned up, and his bones and meridians were firm and transparent, and the dark energy in his body was flowing quantity, also appears more pure. "Where is Yuguishan?" Long Qingxie continues to ask. Even the court sat on the ground, the wind blowing on his face, and even the wind was full of dark energy, which made people's energy boil. Yugoshin is a sect opposite to us. Light and dark are hostile to each other, but they must exist. We suppress each other and influence each other. Long Qingxie nodded and heard the light, his heart moved, and his cloud-dancing face appeared in his mind. And what is this place? Why are you all so strong? And since I am the Dark Emperor, why do I have strength? Long Qingxie took a sip of the wine. The mellow fragrance in the wine broke through his senses and made him intoxicated. He couldn't help taking a breath and took another sip. This is fairyland. Even the court also took a sip and sighed, for you, maybe you don't remember the things before that, so there's no need to say more about some things. What you only need to know is that before you were exiled, you could not have sufficient cultivation conditions like us, so your strength would be a big difference. Both of them are silent. Long Qingxie looks at the rolling clouds and waves in front of him, but he wants to go out to have a look, which is better. He can understand his environment and make the next plan better. Back in her room, the maid was ready to go to Yugoshin. She stood in the room with a tray. Long Qingxie put everything away one by one and sat back on the bed. In front of the window, the moonlight covered his whole body. He closed his eyes and began to practice again. The next morning, just opened his eyes, Long Qingxie was asked to go to the meeting hall. After cleaning up, he came to the meeting hall and saw Lian Ting standing there with both hands on his back and looking down at the map on the table. Looking up, he saw that the dragon had fallen into evil. He began to play with his eyes and smile. He waved to him and said, "Look, this is Yugoshin." He pointed to the map, and the dragon found out that Yugoshin and Dark Cloud Palace stand on opposite sides of the fairyland. It's hard to meet each other, but no one dares to despise each other. After going to the hot spring, it's a small matter. You must see the Sun of Light. Long Qingxie nodded and his golden eyes flashed with joy. At least if you leave this place, you can learn more than waiting for others to tell you the truth. I'll let the elder accompany me on this trip. If you don't know anything, you can ask him directly, and he will help you, so you don't have to be afraid. Scared? Long Qingxie had never been afraid of anything. He nodded, turned around and was ready to leave, but he was held by Lian Ting and said with a smile, "When you come back, you can drink with me again." The patriarch seems to be very interested in himself. Long Qingxie starts to smile and turns away. Watching Long Qingxie leave, Lian Ting can't help muttering, "This bet, I hope I win." Yugui Mountain, in the gate. Yuzigi came to Xinquan Cave again. This place, which used to be regarded as a holy place, had been closed and no one was allowed to enter. Although it was clear that there was no one inside, Yuzigi still sent someone to guard at the door. In the past, he would allow outstanding disciples to come to practice, and he would also take advantage of the chance to enter the holy spring to soak. But now, facing the holy spring, he has no desire to enter the water. In my mind, Yunwu has a firm look on his face, and the dark son who is only a few months old but still not afraid of himself. Even the descendants of the poor and strange people miss him. Clearly is the constitution of light, why did you give birth to the son of darkness? Yuzigi murmured, frowning tightly. If the son of darkness was not her child, now I'm afraid the son of cloud dance and light would not disappear. Ah! Lord, what do you say? The bodyguard who stood behind Yuzigi thought that he had said something, but he didn't hear it clearly for a moment, so he asked suspiciously. Yuzigi's eyes were still on the holy spring, and did not answer the questions of his descendants. The bodyguard saw that the patriarch didn't respond and began to hesitate whether he wanted to ask again. But before he asked, Yuzigi suddenly asked, "What's the matter? Have you heard from them?" The bodyguard didn't have time to think about what the Lord had just said. He quickly said, "Back to the Lord, there's no news yet." No news? Yuzigi frowned, "What's going on in Jijie?" No, the bodyguard replied, "I have already strengthened the border as instructed by the patriarch. No matter where someone destroys the border, they will be found at the first time. Patrols have been added in several weak places. It is impossible for them to get out of the border." Yes. Yuzigi is more puzzled, is it difficult to go out from the main gate? "Don't worry, Lord." The bodyguard said, "There are a lot of guards at the entrance of the border. Even the elder sits down in person. No matter what methods they use, whether they are disguised or invisible, they will be seen. Moreover, the elder also ordered that no one should enter or leave unless he had a pass." Yuzuki was silent again. In this way, they will not have the possibility to leave Yugoshin, so it only shows one situation: they are still in Yugoshin, but they don't know where they are hiding. Where will it be? Yuzuki lowered his eyes and thought seriously. The bodyguard behind him didn't dare to say anything more. He was responsible for this matter, but after so many days, there was no news at all. If the patriarch didn't blame himself, it's okay. If he really wanted to investigate, it's also his own disadvantage. Just as the bodyguard was thinking wildly, Yuzuki spoke again. "Have you ever sent someone in the city to investigate seriously? Are all the streets and alleys wanted?" "Yes." The bodyguard replied quickly. The cold sweat on his forehead was about to flow down, for fear that he would be blamed. "I also took the team to go door to door to check, focusing on the places where the outsiders lived, but no trace was found. Even the original residents of Yugoshin were informed one by one, so that once they found the trace, they would report it immediately. But up to now, I haven't heard from you." Speaking of this, the bodyguard was a little ashamed. "Alas." Yuzuki sighed, his eyes twinkled. "Is that God's will? What does it mean to let the son of darkness be born to the son of light, and let the son of darkness and the son of light be brothers and sisters? Why can the two opposite siblings survive?" Unable to understand, Yuzuki finally gave up thinking. From now on, Yugoi Mountain can't get in and out of the mountain. Anyone who wants to leave will have to get the approval of the elder. "Yes," the bodyguard answered quickly. Yuzuki waved and said, "Go down." "Yes." As soon as the bodyguard left, the sound of footsteps rang out again. It turned out to be the bodyguard who went back. Yuzuki frowned, didn't turn around and ask directly, "What's the matter?" "Back to the Lord, someone came outside to send a message saying that the people over there are coming." As soon as the words came out, Yuzuki's pupils shrank. He didn't mention the name of there, but he was very concerned about it. Yuzuki, who had never moved before, turned around abruptly, wrung his brows and asked, "How can they come here? Did you get the news?" "I don't know." The bodyguard knelt down quickly. The messenger said that the visitor had been with the elder, but he didn't want to say anything. He had to see the patriarch, so now he was still at the entrance of the border and was not invited in. The elder said, "Don't let him know that we are looking for the son of light." Yuzuki clenched his fist slightly and said in a cold voice, "Go out at once and tear down all the wanted warrants in the city. The patrol team will also withdraw. Just guard the entrance and execute immediately." Yes, the guard took the order and went down immediately. Yuzuki took a deep breath to make himself look calm. Although he is usually cold enough, he should be more cautious in the face of people over there. After making sure that he was the same as usual, Yuzuki left the hot spring cave. He told the guards at the gate to watch carefully, and then flew to the entrance of the border. At the entrance of the border, the elder sits in the middle of the entrance, with a small group of Yugoshin disciples on each side behind him, and there are patrols walking around from time to time. In front of the elder is a man in black, a pair of eyes look very cunning, from time to time prying around, while also saying this to the elder. The guards of Yugoshin are so strict, but they are not very friendly to other sections. At least they have to let people into the city, aren't they? The man grinned and flattered. If he hadn't known that he was from over there for a long time, and this time he was sending letters for over there, it would be easy for people to think that he meant to join Yugoshin. Otherwise, how could he be so flattering? Yugoshin's disciples have an inexplicable aversion to there. At this time, they feel even less good about the way this person talks. However, Yugoshin's ancestral precept once said that he wanted to make his disciples happy and angry, so although he was disgusted in his heart, he did well on the surface. The elder, in particular, was able to look at the people in front of him with a smile, and said with a kind look, "It's well guarded." We should be responsible for the safety of our Yugoshan people, right? If anyone could come in, wouldn't it be a mess? Yes. That person doesn't think of say, we there is what person can enter, also didn't see disorderly set. Anyone can enter. The elder was still smiling. I'll call our Yugoshan people to have a good look some other day. I heard that you have a library there, which contains many secret books. They are all rare. I've long wanted to see them. Just don't rush people out at that time. The man choked and was speechless. What else? Just now, it is clear that he said that anyone can enter. Now the elder is going to take a group of people with him. Do you want to go to the library? How is that possible? Even their own disciples are not qualified to stroll around. Haha, where? In fact, some places are not convenient for others to enter after all. The library is the same as your holy spring. If you want to go, it's really a bit. The elder was not annoyed, as if he had known that he would say so, and then he said with a smile, yes, I am so confused, I should have thought of it earlier. That's fine. There was a relief in the man's heart. But then the elder said, I won't go to the library. I won't go to those forbidden areas, so as not to say that I don't obey the rules. Then I'll take some people to your place some other day to have a look at the scenery and have a good look at your style. Once this was said, the man was confused again. This time it's really speechless. If we can refute that the library is a forbidden area just now, there is really no reason to refute it now. Just now, he said that anyone can enter, but the elder of Yugoshan wants to take a group of people to go shopping. It's like a demonstration. If this time he comes out to do a task and causes trouble for the sect, why don't he be killed by the patriarch? The man just felt that the cold sweat on his forehead was about to come out, but he couldn't find any words to refute. The elder still looked at him with a happy face, not worried at all. At this time, a white figure came down from the sky, surrounded by a strong smell of light. When he fell to the ground, he didn't even lift a grain of dust. His long hair was windless, and he didn't obey until a moment later. A handsome face, like a banished immortal, exudes a cool temperament, even the voice is cool. Why do people from Dark Cloud Palace come to my Jade Mountain? The man just felt that the man in front of him was not a relegated immortal, but a real immortal. A word just over his embarrassment, at this time he wanted to roar in his heart, finally no longer have to face the old man. The elder stood up happily and said to Yuzigi, you are here at last. This man is saying that he wants to invite us to visit the Dark Cloud Palace to see some different customs. The man's breath was stagnant and nearly a mouthful of old blood came out of his mouth. This elder, how come? Be a guest? Yuzigi's eyes swept over the man in front of him. In a moment, he understood the cause of the matter. I'm afraid that the man was teased by the elder. For so long, no one's eloquence can match the elder's. What are you doing here? Yuzigi asked directly. The man sighed in his heart and reminded himself not to pay any attention to the elder. No matter what he said, he didn't care. Then he adjusted his mood and said, this must be Yuzi, the leader of Yugoshan. Our leader asked me to report a letter, saying that we must see you before we can speak. There was no extra expression on Yuzi Gui's face, but he had a panoramic view of the people before he met. Then he said, now you see me, let's talk. See that person take out a letter from the body, just want to step into the border, someone nearby immediately stepped forward to stop him. Just as the bodyguard was about to take the letter from him, the man in charge of the clinker took it back and said, the Lord said that this thing must be handed over to the Lord of your sect. The bodyguard turned to look at the elder and the patriarch. Just now, the elder himself told him that he was not allowed to step into the border. At this time, he took a letter which might be prepared by the master of Dark Cloud Palace himself and wanted to get close to Yuzigi. As a bodyguard, he should not let this happen anyway. When the bodyguard was in a dilemma, a cold voice came. No harm. As soon as Yuzigi's voice fell, he waved his sleeve, and the letter flew directly from the person's hand. Before the person could react to what happened, it flew directly to Yuzigi. Ah! The man just wanted to say something. He put out his hand and stepped forward. The next second, he was blocked by the guard in front of him. Seeing that the bodyguard didn't give in at all, he had to give up the idea of going in. He scratched his head and said, "Please come back after reading it." Jade's son returned light of saw him one eye, didn't speak, the hand is again a wave, in front of letter then directly open. A piece of writing paper spread out in front of Uzgui, with a few lines of words on it. Thanks to the great love of heaven and earth, our sect finally found the Dark Emperor. When we were glad, we didn't see the leader of your sect for many days, so we handed in a salutation note. 1 month later, the Dark Emperor and several members of the sect went to visit. A short letter is only a few lines, but Uzgui stares at it for a long time, as if to poke a hole in it. Is Lienting going to let the Dark Emperor visit Yugoshin? Is it for the Son of Light? The Jade Sun returns in the heart to doubt, for a moment in the mind innumerable thoughts flash over. Now, in the case of Yugoshin, if they are allowed to come and find that the Son of Light is missing, they are afraid that they will take the opportunity to wreak havoc, but if they are not allowed to come, they will inevitably be suspicious. For a moment, Uzgui's eyes changed several times. The elder's smiling eyes revolved around several people. Finally, he just came to Uzgui's side and looked at the letter. When he saw the content of the letter clearly, the elder's eyes narrowed. Is Lienting coming? Ah, it's the Dark Emperor. The elder said with a smile, I haven't left for them yet. They are coming. The messenger just wanted to say that the letter can't be read by others. Then he heard this sentence and immediately learned to be good and didn't say anything. Tell him, welcome. Uzgui's cold voice came, and with a wave of his hand, the letters in front of him ignited, and soon they were all burned up. After 1 month, the gate of Yugoshin is open to the Dark Cloud Palace. Either the Dark Emperor or even the court can come. Jade's son returned light of say, you can go back. Then he turned and walked inside. The man wanted to say something more, but looking at the elder standing at the door, he laughed awkwardly, turned and walked away. From now on, Jade will return to the mountain and seal it up. The Jade's son returns cold voice to say, the footstep doesn't stop, every walk a step then have an order to come down. All the wanted warrants in the city have been removed, and the intensity of covert search has been increased. Besides, no one is allowed to divulge any information about the Son of Light. No matter what the purpose of the Dark Cloud Palace is, the Son of Light must find out, and never let the people of the Dark Cloud Palace have an opportunity. Moreover, he could be sure that the woman could not have disappeared from his Jade Mountain with her 2 children. As long as you don't leave Yugoshin, you can find it. It's just a matter of time. However, he did not know that many things are not absolute. The elder standing at the border behind him sighed a rare sigh, stroked his beard and said, it seems that it's inevitable. However, the other side is much more peaceful than the dark storm here. Alleys and old houses. A few days later, the original dirty room has become much more tidy. However, there are still not many furniture in the room. There are still 1 or 2 stools and a table that can be used. But it's much better than the messy and beggar's nest in the beginning. At least it won't be dusty everywhere, and the spider web will be dirty and messy. But in addition to clean up, there is no sense of home. In fact, Yunwoo has some doubts in her mind over the past few days. Naturally, this doubt is aimed at the man who has been a dirty tramp from beginning to end. I can't see where the man came from. After a few days, I never opened my mouth, even if it happened occasionally. Almost exactly like a transparent person. The whole house, if not the 3 rooms in the backyard, all have traces of living, such as bedding. When you check with those people, if you are familiar with him, Yunwoo will think that he is not an original resident at all. Of course, the current situation of Cloud Dance, she did not make redundant moves out. Although it's impossible to be completely at ease with this place, it seems that the search for her outside has not relaxed at all. On the contrary, it's more and more rigorous. So for the time being, she can't leave or choose. But this is not the way to go on, as long as in Yugoshin, sooner or later will be found one day. Her 2 children, whether it's night or the so-called Jade Mountain, she absolutely does not allow them to point to die. However, in recent days, Yunwoo is inexplicably uneasy. Because she found that, for no reason, the power of the dark phagocytosis in her body disappeared, even the power of the witches driven by the body disappeared. What's worse is that she relied on her arrogance. Chaos Hall could not enter freely, and could not drive the spirit power in Chaos Hall as before. This is tantamount to cutting off her only security chip. It's like all of her powers have been evacuated or closed by something. It's the first time that this kind of situation has happened since she crossed the world. The feeling that her own strength has disappeared little by little makes her more and more uneasy. It's like that something is beginning to make her unable to master. She had guessed countless reasons for this, but in the end, there was no answer. To be honest, it's a very bad feeling. Long Qing Xie. Where the hell are you? Thinking of the man who disappeared on the eve of the wedding, I can't help but feel a sour feeling of missing. Almost a year, the children have come out, where on earth are you, da-da? Just as the soul of Cloud Dance was wandering and meditating, a soft sense of scratching came from his cheek, and the soft and crisp voice came from his ear, as if showing some kind of concern. Cloud danced back to God, looking at I don't know when she was climbing on the little fat girl in her arms, but after a smile, she gently held in her arms. Thin fingertips, cannot put down the pinch under the tender can squeeze out water to the white tender little fat face, cold fundus surge gently, is not with small potatoes to play? How can you come back by yourself? This girl, born to now, is not yet a full week, but it seems to be 6 or 7 months old. Moreover, she seems to be sensible, and has the IQ of a 3-year-old baby. I don't know if the gene of dragon's evil is powerful, or the world is too mysterious. That's why she asked her that. Because she has been unable to go out these days, she has no time at all. As soon as she has time, she grabs the potato and doesn't know where to go. With little potato, Yunwoo doesn't worry that she will be found, and she has hidden beads on her body. But for his daughters, mischievous, lively, Cloud Dance is often laughing and crying. In contrast, her younger brother, who lived for a few days that night, was more like a normal human baby. Pink, small, thin, weak, as early as the child, in addition to eat is to sleep, people have to give birth to heartache. Little fat girl, this name is called incompetent Yunwoo. It's taken casually. Who told her to be fat and lovely since she was born? She hasn't taken the correct name yet, because she wants to wait for the father of Long Qingxie. For this little fat girl's name, a little girl who is under the moon doesn't seem to like it very much, but her IQ is still in the stage of ignorance, and even if she is dissatisfied, she can't oppose it. After hearing Yunwoo's inquiry, the little fat girl pursed her pink lips and looked up at Yunwoo with a look of grievance. She said with a look of grievance, "Duh. It's a long way to go." However, Yunwoo didn't understand a word. I really can't blame her, because she found that her daughter, it seems, can only make that big sound, and can't say any other words at all. When Yunwoo was at a loss, a small potato covered with embarrassment outside the window finally flew back. However, when it saw the little fat girl in Yunwoo's arms, it obviously pouted its little mouth. After flying to the corner, it directly faced each other with one buttock, silently telling some kind of anger. Duh. Little fat girl see little potato attitude, as if more aggrieved, straight pull Cloud Dance clothes, pathetic say something. At this time, Yunwoo naturally noticed that the little potato buttocks in the corner were twisted, a pair of angry performance. What's going on? Did you fight? Cloud Dance looked at the little fat girl in her arms and the little potato in the corner, and a little bit of doubt flashed in her eyes. A little fat girl like a bully, a little potato like a good temper, what's wrong? Unfortunately, Yunwoo couldn't understand the little fat girl's story at all, and little potato seemed to be sulking and drawing circles in the corner, so he didn't know what was going on. But seeing the embarrassed appearance of little potato, Yunwoo knows more or less that her daughter must have done something to make little potato shriveled. Rub the little fat girl's head in her arms. Are you bullying people again? Little fat girl smell speech, pink delicate little fat face obviously a wrinkle, big big big. A look of grievance and discontent. And the little potato who heard the little fat girl's da-da voice turned his head, snorted, and then continued to turn his butt and draw circles at her to show his silent complaint. Seeing this, Yunwoo naturally can see that little potato can understand little fat girl's words, but it seems that he is still angry. This is to let Cloud dance some curiosity, what happened in the end, let little potato so angry little fat girl. After all, after the birth of little fat girl, little potato, whether in protection or otherwise, almost never left. Even sometimes, Yunwoo thinks that compared with her mother, little potato has more status in the heart of little fat girl. Little potato, come here. Cloud dance ignored the complaint of little fat girl in her arms, instead, she waved to the little potato in the corner. She can spoil her daughter and make mischief with her at ordinary times, but it doesn't mean that she will spoil her too much. A loving mother is a loser. What's more, although little potato is a poor child, in human eyes, it's just a child. But along the way, little potato is how temperament, she can be very clear. Fat chick would not have been so angry if she hadn't done something too much. The little potato hears the sound, turns his head and sweeps the little fat girl in Yunwoo's arms with his big round eyes. Then he looks at Yunwoo. It's obvious that his pouted mouth is still sulking. Can see it, but first with eyes to see the little fat girl's action, you can know it is in scruple little fat girl's attitude. Little fat girl is not satisfied when she hears that her mother doesn't pay attention to her grievance complaint. So, when little potato looks at her, she naturally stares at her big eyes like anger, and threatens her little fat pink fist. If you dare to complain, I'll beat you, look like a bully. And this action naturally fell into the eyes of Cloud Dance. Cloud Dance's forehead appeared black line, eyebrow frown, for the first time, think she is too indulgent her. Little fat girl. 3 words, with a low voice called to arouse, voice line with some serious. The little fat girl's body is stiff when she looks up at the cold Sioux eyes of the Cloud Dance. Da-da, mom. Mother 2 words, is Cloud Dance teach her, but she still can't call out. For the first time, my mother will look at her with such a serious expression, okay wronged. However, even now her IQ is still in the 3-year-old child ignorant stage, but it is not nothing. Her mother was angry. Go to bed and think about it. Serious voice, once again. Little fat girl's body trembles, looking at the strange, serious Cloud Dance in front of her. Little fat girl feels a little afraid and aggrieved, but after all, she is a child. Her heart is full of grievances. As soon as little red mouth pouts, big tears will fall down. To tell you the truth, any mother who doesn't care for her children, the flesh that falls from her body, let alone make her cry, is to make her aggrieved will be distressed to death. Yunwoo was no exception, but she didn't soften her face and still looked at her seriously. This girl has such wisdom before she reaches the full moon. I'm afraid that she will not be like this now if she waits for a few months. If she doesn't teach at this time, I'm afraid that she will be more difficult to discipline in the future. Especially for her identity as the son of darkness, if she is not careful, she will only go into danger. Woo woo da da. See Cloud Dance no loose expression, little fat girl finally extremely, aggrieved, climb down Cloud Dance arms, little fat leg unsteadily toward the next bed. The bed is as high as her head, so she can't climb it. Looking at the grievance sobbing, little fat hands clinging to the bed to climb up the little fat girl, Cloud Dance eyes flashed a touch of heartache, the bottom of my heart is reluctant. Get up, go over and take her to bed, avoid the position of the little brother in the package and put her in the bed. Little fat girl thinks that Yunwoo can't bear to be strict with herself at last. She turns her head and looks at Yunwoo behind her. When I see Yunwoo again with a serious face, I feel like I'm sulky. I turn my head, turn my back to Yunwoo, face the wall and ignore Yunwoo. I'll never talk to you again. This move, on the contrary, looks like a potato in the corner. See her this action, Cloud Dance's serious face finally can't help but soften down, flash to helpless. I don't know who this little girl looks like. Yunwoo didn't pay any attention to her at this time. Sometimes children coax too much against her growth. Turn around and walk towards the little potato in the corner. Goo goo. Small potato, timid, looked at the direction of the little fat girl, did not know what to say. Yunwoo reached out and picked it up from the corner. At this moment, a stench suddenly poured into his nose, which was the smell of small potatoes. What's the matter? What happened? This sentence is naturally said to the little potato. Although the smell was not very good, Yunwoo still carried it to the table, took out a handkerchief from somewhere and wiped it with the pot of water on the table. Goo goo. To Cloud Dance gentle wipe, small potato likes very much, answer her in a hurry. But Cloud Dance can't understand what it says except watching it draw and draw. For a long time, little potato had to give up. It's too small to communicate with the host. Alas. However, when I think of what happened outside, little potato's big round eyes are humanized, showing a dignified concern, especially looking at the little fat girl who is facing it with her butt on the bed. Little fat girl seems to have a good taste of Yunwoo's tenderness to little potato. From time to time, she uses her dissatisfied hum to express her anger, and also wants to attract Yunwoo's attention. Cloud Dance helpless shook his head, although did not understand what little potato said, but the heart is more and more uneasy. It seems that we have to change places. This place has been living for several days. Even if we start to evade the search, it will not be found. As soon as the idea fell, the plan naturally flashed in my heart. Little potato, go to little fat girl. After that, Yunwoo got up to sort out the things she had taken out of the bracelet space these days, and the action was very neat without any hesitation. Then he carried the two children on his back and went out of the room. Ha! As soon as I stepped out of the backyard, the Cloud Dance's steps suddenly stopped. Almost at that moment, I even held my breath. Small potatoes are also very tacit agreement fell on the shoulder of Cloud Dance, shielding the power of breath instantly shrouded in a big too small body. And the little fat girl behind the Cloud Dance, flat mouth, but also seems to feel the atmosphere is not right, very clever do not make a sound, just the big eyes around, a very curious appearance. Be careful not to disturb the people in the room. Yes, Captain. You, go there to search, you two go to the other side, and the rest go to the backyard with me. Remember, be careful not to disturb the people in the room. There are 8 people coming in, wearing the clothes of the city guards. These 2 people can only be regarded as the ordinary city guards in the city. Generally speaking, they want to maintain the order in the city. But since the order of the Lord's secret investigation came down, almost all the bodyguards of Yugwashin's disciples were sent out, and even the lowest guards were also responsible for searching. However, this area was searched only 3 days ago. Originally, according to the area of the whole city, it could not be searched here for a while. But just when they were searching in another district, they heard something about this attachment. In such an instant, they caught a breath of darkness that did not belong to the light system. Although the breath was very weak, it was soon covered up. But for the light system, a little bit of darkness will be very abrupt. What's more, one of the targets the suzerain ordered to search was a son of darkness. Once they are caught or found, there will definitely be a big reward from the top, or there may be a chance to become one of the candidates for the sect. You know, among the people in Yugwashin, who doesn't want to break the head, want to enter the real sect, and become the official son of Yugwashin. 8 people's hearts were hot, and their movements were so light that they could even hear the needle fall to the ground. They approached the backyard step by step. This room, in the black market, is relatively far away from the secret position, but the only bad thing is that there is no back door. If you go over the wall or use your spiritual power, you will be found. The Cloud Dance hiding in the dark corner, looking at the bodyguard who is just a little bit close, frowned tightly, but in my mind it is running fast. Now the power of Magic Bite and the power of the Witch Clan are gone, and the Chaos Hall can't get in. Except that little potato can help to hide the breath temporarily, there is only Hidden Pearl. But now it's noon, hidden beads in the sun, obviously there will be drawbacks. Especially in recent days, she found that the lowest strength of the guards in Yugui Mountain is above the level of Wuzong, and most of them are above the level of Wudi. This strength, if in the human world, can almost directly stand on the top of the terrorist's strength. But here, it's like Chinese cabbage. The most ordinary people can have more than Wuzong. It's really scary. This is one of the reasons why Yunwu has been staying indoors these days. Goo goo. Here came the sound of small potatoes. Although Yunwu couldn't understand what it said, when she pointed to the weeds in the backyard, she walked very fast and carefully. The bodyguards, too careful, seemed to be afraid of disturbing the people in the backyard, which also gave Yunwu a little time. Pull aside the straw, there is a small hole in the wall of the vacancy appeared in front of us. Is this asking her to dig a dog's hole? Well, as long as it's safe, it's nothing. However, the dog hole is obviously too small, I'm afraid it's only enough for a little fat girl to get out. Cloud Dance all doubt, this is not usually little fat girl exclusive out of the hole. Little Potato seems to know what Yunwu thinks. With a leap of his body, his small claw suddenly comes out. Next second. Shwa shwa. The wall was like bean curd dregs, and a big hole was caught in a few seconds. Although the movement is a little big, the speed is fast. When Yunwu saw this, he was too late to be surprised. At the moment of opening the cave, he grabbed the little potato in his arms, carried the figures of two little guys on his back, and quickly went out into the alley behind the wall. And this movement is naturally instantaneous time attracted the attention of the approaching bodyguard. Come on, go back and report. Chase. As soon as the figure of Cloud Dance got into the alley, there was a rapid and excited voice behind him. Then, a few bodyguards, also with a very fast speed to catch up. This is a residential area belonging to the black market. The alleys are intricate. If you are not familiar with them, you will feel dizzy for a while. However, it is not difficult for the bodyguards in charge of this area. Yunwu feels that there is a catch-up movement coming from behind, and the speed at the foot is faster. It also makes the hidden bead play the maximum stealth effect, plus the shielding power of small potatoes. But Mingming ran away for a long time and found that he didn't get rid of the pursuit behind him. Come on, the breath is here. The sound of footsteps, accompanied by the occasional command, sounded faintly from the alley. Breath fluctuation. How can they feel the breath fluctuation when there are small potatoes? Cloud Dance brow deep lock, Fundus doubt a flash, this is how to return a responsibility. Can't the power of little potatoes support hiding their breath? But I don't know where is the problem of little potato, and the biggest reason is the little fat girl behind her. It's not that little fat girl has done anything great, but as she grows up, her own strength will grow slowly. Especially when she was in the belly of Yunwu, she almost absorbed 80% of Yunwu's strength. In addition, she absorbed it for several months in the dark place specially arranged by Night. The power in her body is beyond the imagination of Yunwu. Now, as she grows up, the breath of dark power in her body will become more and more strong. Even if there are small potatoes and hidden beads, they have begun to appear. I'm afraid it won't be long before it will be exposed to the public. Of course, this Cloud Dance at this time were no awe. Even if I was confused, I was anxious to turn around in the alley. I couldn't get into the crowd, so I had to find a place to hide. The main hall of the sect. Lord, there is news that a faint dark smell has appeared in the east corner of the city. Inside the hall, Uzgui, who was sitting on the cultivation Yupu, opened his eyes. Immediately, his spotless white clothes passed in the air. In a twinkling of an eye, he stepped out of the hall. Go and inform the elders. As soon as his dignified and cold voice fell, he could see that he was flying towards a certain place in the city. Before the notification disciple responded, there was no Uzgui in front of him. However, the disciple was very clever and soon went to the Presbyterian Council to inform him. Son of light, son of darkness. Although the patriarch sealed the news, the whole Yuguishan disciples must know something about what happened before. However, what makes people curious is the mother who is rumored to have two extreme sons at the same time. It is said that she was just a beautiful woman in her early 20s. It is said that even their patriarch took the woman seriously. It is also said that the origin of the woman is very mysterious. Of course, the so-called rumors can only be heard from the audience. The specific situation is not clear to many people. But that's what makes people more curious. In a short time, there were several figures in the halls of Yugoshin, all towards the east corner of the city. As for being the protagonist being tracked, Yunwoo. She only felt that the first two were big, because she found that no matter which family she ran into, no matter which dog hole she went through, the pursuers always found her direction. Little potato, you. Cloud Dance wanted to say, let the little potato increase a little shielding power. But when he looked down, his words stopped. Although the little potato looks like a baby, it can be seen at a glance that its face is not quite right. In human terms, it should be expressed as pale. It's wasting too much energy. Don't ask her how to know, but she just clearly feels that little potato has used up all her energy to keep hidden. But what the hell is going on? Before in that cave, the shielding power of little potatoes could not even be felt by the master of Yugoshin. Now how could they use it? The energy is almost exhausted, and there is still no way to hide their breath. Cloud Dance seems to think of something, face slightly changed. But in the next second, a strong force, suddenly from the corner will still be running in her suddenly pull her. The sudden pull caught Yunwoo unprepared. Goo goo. Small potatoes are generally angry, with sharp little claws flying out of the air. Even Cloud Dance, also in the reaction of the moment, the bracelet purple light, Guwu Dageo suddenly appeared in the hand. It's me. The deep and hoarse voice, accompanied by a very strange breath, instantly shrouded Yunwoo and others. Then, at the moment when the Cloud Dance stopped, the tall and dark figure had dodged into a house at the corner with the Cloud Dance. Of course, little potato's claws, but also vigilant resistance in the shadow of the neck, but it seems that did not hurt him at all. It's him, sloppy man. Cloud Dance in reaction, this just looked up to see clearly, in front of her half forced into the arms of the man, is not that except her slovenly man. The same dress, the same expressionless face. But the only difference is that the breath of his body is obviously different from that of this bright place. It has a trace of depression and a trace of darkness, but it will not go against the bright breath in the air. But there's always something wrong. If you don't want to be taken back, don't make a sound. There was a heat flow in my ear, and the husky voice came with a touch of numbness. Goose bumps in an instant, Yunwoo eyebrows a frown. It is obvious that the man's lips touch her ear, whispering behavior quite disgusted, but the next moment, Yunwoo body is fixed. Because, she felt, a strong bright breath of the figure, with the speed of lightning from the air. Came to the location, just where she is now in the yard not far above. It seems that as long as she moves, she will be found by that person. When Yuziki came in the air, the slovenly man in black seemed to press his arms with a big or two small potatoes and a small potato. The warm body temperature, leaving almost no space, did not squeeze to the child behind, but can completely fit the two people together without trace. And the book touched the head beside Yunwoo's ear, which was almost pasted on the white neck at this time, and the warm breath sprayed on the skin, bringing up a hint of crispy itching. This posture, this fit, with a trace of ambiguity. Men seem to enjoy this posture. In the angle of Cloud Dance can't see, the thin lips slightly upward, with a trace of fun and mystery. But Yunwoo's face became more and more ugly. She wanted to break off the hands that held her mother and son in her arms, leaning forward and trying to break away. Don't move. Once you leave my arms, the Lord will find you. It's the low husky voice again. The Cloud Dance is stiff. Who is this man? Such a slovenly beggar doesn't smell like a dirty beggar. Moreover, his hands are long and white, and he can't see anything to do with slovenness. The only thing that can be explained is that the man has changed his face. Besides, he's not the one from Yugoshin. Although the breath on the body is almost the same as the breath of light, Cloud Dance just feels different. However, Yunwoo didn't ask at this time, because she didn't know whether her voice would cause Yuzi's attention in the air nearby. Don't worry, it's just to block your breath. It won't do anything to you. The slovenly man's voice was low again. But Yunwu thinks that this man's words can't be believed completely. Lord. Several bodyguards who are trying their best to chase Yunwu, and then see Yuzi return suddenly, they call respectfully. What about people? Yuzi swept down the alley with his eyes. With a force, his consciousness had spread in all directions. Back to the Lord, we are looking for the breath. We are catching up here, but just now, the breath suddenly disappeared. The leader answered truthfully. Suddenly disappeared. After a fist tour, Yuzi Gui, who didn't feel the dark atmosphere, felt a little cold on his handsome face. Several bodyguards bowed their heads. Yes, it's the smell that disappears around here. Around here. Yuzigi frowned, and his sharp eyes swept down the alley again. If the bodyguard was right, the man must be near here. In the corner of the house below, the cloud dancing in the arms of the slovenly man clearly felt the sense of a sharp line of sight, scanning her position. The heart beat faster for a few beats, as if a strange feeling of being seen through came to my heart. For a second, Yunwu felt that he couldn't avoid it. I didn't expect that when the sharp line of sight swept to her position, it was surrounded by the strange breath around her body, which turned into a soft breath and dissipated. Blocked? No, it was ignored. How think of what, cloud dance not from the side head, swept around the man, but see he is still a face expressionless, slovenly face also can't see what emotion. Who the hell is he? Even the master of Yuguishin could resist the silence. Shua shua at this time, several figures came quickly. In the twinkling of an eye, you can see several old men in white robes standing on one side. Because of the arrival of these old men, the energy fluctuation in the air is much greater. Naturally, there was no small stir. In the city, many people who feel that the atmosphere is not right and see the fast-passing figures can't help but stop and look up to the east of the city. What's going on? Why did the patriarch and the patriarch go to the east black corner of the city? Isn't Black Point a chaotic market? Is that what happened? Who knows, but there must be something big to make the patriarch appear with the elders. Or, let's go and have a look. The closer to the east corner of the city, the more people want to watch. However, as soon as the city guards saw the appearance of the patriarch, they came quickly and orderly. After a while, they surrounded the whole black corner of the east city. In addition to avoiding the escape of the people in Black Corner, of course, also put an end to some unnecessary onlookers. Whether it is the fairyland or the human world, there will be the so-called worldly sophistication. After all, the land of fairyland is not really the land of immortals. Fairyland is just a cultivator with natural spiritual constitution. To cultivate immortals is to cultivate and become immortals, and to become gods is the ultimate goal. However, even the Patriarch of Yuguishin, or the Patriarch of Dark Cloud Palace, or the cultivators of other clans, has not yet succeeded in cultivating Dujia into a god for thousands of years. Of course, compared with the human world and the upper world, the fairyland is obviously on different boundaries, and the levels it represents are naturally different. Suzerain, is there the whereabouts of Guangming's son? The three elders could not help asking. However, when you look around, you don't notice the same. Elder, the second elder also noticed. What's the matter? Isn't it the announcement? The second elder can't help asking. After all, the Dark Emperor of the Dark Cloud Palace appeared, but their Son of Light, who was born in Yuguishin, was missing. Seeing that the appointed time was getting closer and closer, they were worried. But the elder opened his mouth at the right time. Depending on the situation, the woman is hiding again. In their own territory, they can't find the trace of the foreign woman. I don't know whether it's self-slapping or admiring the woman's ability. If the announcement is correct, the man must be in this black corner. Yuzi's consciousness of returning to God is still spreading around, searching inch by inch. That cloud dance, what method did she use in the end, unexpectedly can evade his search. Thinking of that stubborn and resolute woman, Yuzi couldn't help frowning. She also has the Son of Darkness around her. She may have something that hides the breath of the son of darkness. She has the barrier around her, but it must consume a lot of energy. It's been several days, and there should be some movement, but now there is no breath fluctuation. After thinking for a while, Yuzi spoke with dignity and low voice, "Seal off the Black Point area, and every family will find out. No one is allowed to go in and out of the Black Point area until they find someone. As long as a person is in the Black Point area, even if she has something on her body that can block the breath, she will find it. Unless someone helps her." After the order of Yuzigi was given, the guards immediately took action. Yuzigi and the elders, after repeated exploration, did not find the situation, but had no choice but to return to their respective palaces. The presence of several big men in the Black Point district of the city has caused quite a stir. If they stay, they are afraid that some news will spread throughout the city. Although the city is full of Yuguishan people and some people who have contacts with Guangming, it is difficult to guarantee that there will not be other spies dormant in the city. As soon as the elder leaves, Yuzigi, Yunwu, and the slovenly man are led into another underground passage. When walking into the underpass, Yunwu really doubts whether this man is a spy. This underground winding corridor cannot be completed in a moment and a half. Moreover, after half an hour, it has no end. Where does it extend? The cloud dance follows, and the man leads the way. Finally, almost an hour later, when the man finally opened a stone door, he entered a stairway. Out of the tunnel, you can see another scene. The setting sun is reflected on the continuous mountain peaks, with golden yellow scattered among the mountains, green grass plain, white dandelion floating in the air. Beautiful sunset, beautiful dandelion grassland. However, with the slovenly dressed men around, Yunwu is able to recover from such beautiful scenery. What is this place? As soon as the tunnel came out, it was automatically merged. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, you can't see it. Under this beautiful lawn, there is a tunnel leading to the city. But Yunwu was also very clear that this place must still belong to Yuguishan. The back of the Jade Mountain. The slovenly man didn't hide it, he said directly. "Are you going to take me away?" For some reason, Yunwu seems to be quite sure about this idea. This man must have some purpose, and this purpose must be related to her. Smell speech, the man's expressionless corner of the mouth, actually slowly outlined a touch of arc, very shallow, but people cannot ignore the strange. Cloud Dance can't help but frown. If you want to return to the mountain immediately, you have to leave through the main gate of the pass. The slovenly man didn't answer her question directly, but after that, he turned and walked in one direction. Looking at the man's back, Yunwu frowned. Goo goo. Small potato, this is a small wing, around in front of the cloud, do not know what to say. And see the little potato speak, behind that has been clever did not hum little fat girl, also seems to be unable to stay, was bound to twist the small body, milk exchange, big. Looking at these two little guys, Cloud Dance sighs helplessly after taking a look at her son who is still sleeping in her arms. Now at this time, what choice can she have? You can't escape, you can't escape. It seems that for the time being, let's see what the man's purpose is. To keep up, you'd better not leave me too far, or those old guys will surely find out. The man did not turn his head back, his voice came bland. Goo goo. See Cloud Dance to follow forward, small potato flapping small wings around her, round big eyes seem to have some worried color. It's worrying about itself. Yunwu smiles gently. It's okay. Let's follow up first. If there's something wrong, we'll run away. These days, I'm afraid little potato also consumes a lot of energy. Small potato smell speech, cuckoo a few, also slowly stopped on her shoulder. Fat girls see their mother ignored themselves, dissatisfied with pursed small mouth, but also clever did not make. However, the little fat hand is trying to grasp the little potato, doodle pink mouth, big, do not know what to say with it. West of the city. This is a place for people who are going to be able to run for Yuguishan disciples to live. The people who gather are all better gifted. It's not the same level as the east of the city. Although the surrounding houses are not resplendent, they are quiet and unique. Yunwoo didn't know how the man did it. He even had a house in the west of the city. At this time, Yunwoo naturally lived in the courtyard. As for the man, he took her to the house that day and said that as long as he didn't leave the house, he would not be found. In fact, Yunwoo really didn't come here to hang out. She just wanted to leave early. But she has tried these days. As soon as she stepped out of the room, she obviously felt that the dark smell on the little fat girl could not be hidden, even the barrier of the little potato could not be completely covered. But when she came back to the house, the smell disappeared completely. At this point, Yunwoo guessed many possibilities, even turned the room up and down, and didn't find anything special. In desperation, Yunwoo can only stay for a while. And at the same time, try to find a way to see if there is a way to restore their lost strength, otherwise, their strength disappeared, and with two children who were looked down upon by the public, there is a kind of depression. This day. After getting up in the morning, Yunwoo first fed the two children, and then began to sit in the room trying to enter the Chaos Hall. Even if the power of the evil bite and the power of the sorcery disappeared, if she could enter the Chaos Temple, it would be a life-saving cheating device for her. However, after trying for a few days, I still couldn't get into the hall except that I could recover and draw out some spiritual power in the Hall of Chaos. She has a special constitution. Although the bright breath of fairyland can help her practice faster, she does not dare to use half a cent now. I'm afraid that once she uses the spiritual power in the air, the energy fluctuation in the air will be found by Yuzugi. At that time, no matter with or without the help of hidden bead, she can't escape. What's more, in recent days, she can obviously feel the wave of the figure in the city from time to time. He's still looking for her. Moreover, it is more powerful than before, and the atmosphere in the city seems to have changed. The little fat girl is full and climbs to Yunwoo. Looking at the young master who is held by Yunwoo, she curiously reaches out her hand and wants to pinch his cheek. Duh. The little fat girl is full and climbs to Yunwoo. Looking at the young master who is held by Yunwoo, she curiously reaches out her hand and wants to pinch his cheek. Tender, slippery, QQ, have fun. As if he had found a new toy, the little fat claw pinched again, and his strength was a little heavier. After a while, the little brother's face turned red. Come on, little fat girl. Yunwoo had no choice but to grab her, lest she wake up her sleeping brother. Duh. No, I want to play with my brother. The little fat girl waved her hand pitifully, and her eyes were staring at her little brother in the package. These days, she is not allowed to go out to play, she is so boring. It's hard to find that my brother is so funny. She wants to play. It can be seen that Yunwoo has a firm attitude. In the end, little Pangyo can only stop dancing and settle down. At this time, however, there seemed to be a movement at the door. Duh. Little fat girl suddenly turns her head smartly and stares at the door. Creak dash, a sound, the door suddenly opened. Cloud Dance heart a jump toward the door to see. When you see the people, the heart was relieved. This man is the owner of the yard, that is, the slovenly man of that day. However, it didn't seem to be slovenly at this time, but behind the slovenliness, his face was sallow and ordinary, still expressionless. He changed face. For people who have lived for 2 generations, Cloud Dance is very clear. Wake up. The man's voice is still as hoarse and dark as if it came from the bottom of the grindstone. It's ugly, but it's not strange. The man didn't wait for Yunwoo to answer. After that, he went to Yunwoo's room as usual, took out an oil paper wrap thing from his arms and threw it on Yunwoo's bed. Then he turned and left, the food he brought back from the outside every day. These days, every day. Sometimes it's raw food, sometimes it's cooked meat. As for how he made the food for her, Yunwoo had tried to ask before, but he did not answer her, and later she did not ask. However, she found that during this period of time, milk, enough to feed her 2 little guys. It's probably related to the food he gave. Thank you very much. Cloud Dance to the man's backlight said. Just when Yunwoo thought that the man would leave without paying any attention to himself as before, the clinker man's steps suddenly stopped, and then dropped a word. If you don't mind, you can go out and have a look. Cloud dance aleng, go out to stroll a circle. The man turned his head and glanced at her. There was a flash in his eyes. It was so fast that people couldn't notice it. However, for the cloud dance doubts, the man did not intend to answer, did not speak, directly left. Seeing this, Yunwoo naturally did not ask. At least, after this contact, Yunwoo feels that this man, at least for the moment, won't do any harm to her. As for his future purpose, I won't mention it for the moment. Go out for a walk, this proposal, but let Cloud dance heart. Staying here all the time is not the way. Being in a passive state makes Yunwoo more and more anxious. And this man said to let her go out to have a look, there must be something she wants to see for herself. It's just, if she goes out, what about her 2 children? The young master in his arms is sleeping soundly. The fat girl is sitting on the bed and looks at her suspiciously. She doesn't trust that man. However, if you take them out, you don't have to go far. You will be found by Yuzigi. Duh. Little fat girl opened a pair of watery eyes, curiously looking at the clouds, mouth issued a few vague syllables. Yunwoo frowned, worried and thoughtful. Half a ring. Little potato. Cloud dance gently called a. After a moment, hidden in the little fat girl on the body of small potatoes will appear. Although it can hide the unique dark smell of little fat girl, in order to avoid any situation, little potato chose to help little fat girl open the hidden barrier while sleeping. In this way, we can reduce the energy consumption of small potatoes. GG. Small potatoes spit out a bunch of messy words. It seems that the spirit is not good. I didn't expect that it could consume so much energy while sleeping. This can only show that the little fat girl's dark breath is more strong. If we go on like this, we will not be able to hide it one day. No, we have to find a way to get out of here. Think of here, Cloud Dance decided to go out to have a look, and here, can only let Small Potato help to watch temporarily. Cloud Dance looks at Small Potato, the heartsome worries of ask away, how are you? Gigi goo goo. Small Potato added a word, the brow of Cloud Dance frowned more tight. Looking at his weak appearance and looking at the direction of the courtyard door, he finally bit his teeth and put his hand on the little potato. He used the power in his body to send a very pure force into the little potato's body. This power is the aura of heaven and earth from the Hall of Chaos in recent days. However, Yunwoo did not dare to use too much energy, even the delivery was careful, for fear of accidentally releasing the spiritual power to attract attention. Finally, with the continuous input of energy, little potato slowly recovered some spirit. Cloud Dance, see, this just stop. Little potato, I'll go out and see what's going on outside. Here, please. Cloud Dance said. Gigi. Little potato nodded, promised twice, then automatically flew to the little fat girl behind. Cloud Dance looked at his 2 children again, then turned and left the room. In the next room, the strange man didn't say that to himself at all, and he didn't find out what she was going to do. As soon as he entered the room, he began to lie down and sleep. Yunwoo hesitated for a moment, and finally turned to the door. It's already afternoon. Avoid the midday sun, with hidden beads, cloud directly and aboveboard from the door to go out. However, before going out again, he used his mental strength to scan around the door slightly. After confirming that there was no strong sense of crisis, he used the hidden bead to step out of the door. When the gate of the courtyard opened, there were people coming and going. Some of them were hunting. They were shouting their prey. More of them were people in white. After all, it's not as complicated as Black Point in the east. However, the only difference here is that the cultivation of people here seems to be higher than that of people in the area of Black Point. Because Cloud Dance found that she stepped out the moment, vaguely felt a few lines of sight. For a moment, Yunwoo felt that her hair stood up all over her body, clenched her fingertips, and immediately made a defensive posture. Can someone see through the invisibility of her hidden pearl? Moreover, there are several. Fortunately, those several lines of vision after sweeping her one eye, then flatly drew back the line of vision. Who? Cloud Dance can't help but get a sigh of relief. This just came out. I don't know if it's the illusion of cloud dancing. I always feel that when the door is opened, the voices outside seem to be much smaller than before, as if I'm afraid of something. But Yunwoo did not think about it, but quickly left the area and headed for the area with a lot of people. Of course, for this city, Cloud Dance is not very clear about its geographical location and so-called distribution. Only by feeling, along a road has been walking. Half an hour later. The warrant has been removed. Cloud Dance stands in front of a wall, rather pick eyebrow of looking at a blank wall to say. The news that she was wanted has been around since the moment she escaped. This city has been searched for a long time. When did the warrant go off? Did Yuzuki give up? Or did she think she had escaped from the Jade Mountain, so she withdrew the wanted order? It seems that neither reason holds. Cloud Dance can't forget, almost every day can feel that Jade's son returned the whole process search of induction, thus visible, he is absolutely don't find them won't give up. What's more, there are still a lot of secret guard searches going on. Cloud Dance frowned and looked at it suspiciously. Then, according to the sense of direction, he went straight to the east corner of the city. In this place, I'm afraid I can only hear some news without asking others. I'm afraid it's in Black Point in the east. As long as the child is not around, Yunwoo is confident that she can enter the Black Corner without being found by the guard. Heijiao is the only place in Yugoshan where the good and the bad are mixed together, and the reason is mostly from the outside world, or the external practitioners. But I have to say that this is the most informed place. As the setting sun gradually sets, the clouds are dancing in a corner of Black Point. It's no surprise to see the orderly patrol troops coming and going. Black Point's guard has not been reduced at all. But the arrival of night gives Yunwoo the best hiding place. Roadside. When she heard that the roadside tea house was talking about the interview in Dark Cloud Palace 3 days later, Yunwoo realized what had happened in these days when she stayed at home. The hidden bead was invisible, so Yunwoo had to choose a tea house whose business was not very good to stand in a corner and listen to the people nearby talking about it. The Dark Cloud Palace is worthy of being able to compete with our Yugoshin sect. It can make our patriarch treat us with such a high profile and drive away all the outsiders in the city. It's really tut-tut. The man said, choking the wine in the bowl. Isn't that right? Another said, it's said that even the best part of Black Point has been cleaned. Those who used to be crazy, and those who did evil and made people headache, have been taken out now. It's said that Li Wang too, who used to be very rampant, has directly forbidden him to step into Yugoshan again. The first one said, there are a lot of fugitives in Black Point. Have they been let go? Yes. So strict. The first one said, there are a lot of fugitives in Black Point. Have they been let go? No way. I heard they were all arrested. You see, even the wanted notice for mother and son just pasted some time ago has been removed. I heard that it has been recovered. It's hidden in the Black Corner. Really? The two continued to say something, but Yunwoo was stunned. Mother and son, wanted? Isn't that who you are? When was he taken back? Cloud Dance frowned and saw that the two people's topic had been pulled to other places, but he could not show up to ask directly, so he had to change places to continue to inquire. It's said that the Dark Emperor of the Dark Cloud Palace has returned. It's the Dark Emperor who's coming to Yugoi Mountain this time. It's estimated that he's showing off his power. What happened to the Dark Emperor? Don't forget, we have Children of Light. As long as the Son of Light is in Yugoshan, even a Dark Emperor is not afraid. Haha, that's right. It's said that the Patriarch has found the Son of Light back, which makes us feel relieved. Cloud Dance has been going around many places in succession. The words, Dark Emperor, Dark Cloud Palace, and Son of Light, are constantly popping up. Later, after listening to many people's words, Cloud Dance finally understood. It turned out that it was Yuzi who turned to be lustful. I was afraid that other people would know that the so-called bright sun was missing. This is good news. At least, on the surface, Yuzigi's people won't come to search in a big way. However, what dark cloud palace, what dark emperor will come to this jade mountain? This is not the best chance to leave. After hearing some meaning, Yunwu was not in a hurry to go back, but took advantage of the invisibility of the night to turn around a few places and try to listen to the news that the Dark Emperor was coming to Yuguishan. Unexpectedly, after this inquiry, Yunwu roughly recognized the fairyland structure at this time. This is fairyland. As I said before, it's not a real immortal, but a spiritual land that is superior to the human world. They are all people who cultivate immortals and have natural spiritual roots. Of course, no matter where it is, there are advantages and disadvantages. But even those who are born with the worst spiritual roots are gifted by human standards. It can be imagined that this fairyland continent is another interface that the human world can't match. On this fairyland, there are three major situations: land, water and forest. There is not much news about the waters and forests. However, from those discussions, the land is roughly divided into two groups, the light group and the dark group. There are countless sects between the two factions, and the spiritual power of cultivation is opposite. In the south, the boundary of the light system, and in the north, the boundary of the dark system, separated by a natural barrier forest. The natural barrier forest is said to have the power to separate the two schools, and it is also a place where the practitioners of the two schools are not allowed to break into. However, it cannot stop the friction between the two factions. This Son of Light represents the most gifted Son of Heaven in the Department of Light. And so is the Son of Darkness. As for the Dark Emperor of the Dark Department, it is said that he is second only to the Son of the Dark. Before the Son of the Dark grows up, the Dark Emperor has enough strength to make the Light Department fear him. However, the Dark System has a Dark Emperor, and the Light System naturally has a Ming Emperor. But from those discussions, Yunwu's rumors about the Ming Emperor in the Guangming dynasty are rare. In the end, Cloud Dance did not stay more. Although the effect of concealing beads could be the best in the dark, she was worried that her two children would go back as soon as possible because they had almost heard the news. Phew. Just stepped out of the alley not long ago. Suddenly, a few wind-breaking figures came from the clouds in all directions. The speed was unexpected. Yunwu's face suddenly changed, and he almost subconsciously turned to the other side of the alley. She felt that she was not an opponent of those people. The strength of people here is the lowest in Wuzong, and from the point of view that these people can see through the hidden pearl, their strength is definitely higher than that of Wuling. Miss Yun, please don't struggle anymore. Our patriarch has been looking for Miss Yun all the time. A white figure of Daeguxianfeng, in the twinkling of an eye, blocked the way of Cloud Dance. 4 people, just around, surrounded the Cloud Dance just out of the alley. Yunwu didn't remove the hidden beads. Instead, she looked around at the 4 young men. They were dressed in a uniform white robe, with a white jade tag on their waist and a long sword with precious jade. They were all pretty and indifferent. People who don't know, when they see these people's temperament and aura, they will surely feel like immortals. But Yunwu is too familiar with the costumes of these people. They are the entry-level disciples of Yuguishan sect. What's more, the jade plate they are wearing should still be the advanced disciples. Unexpectedly, Yuzigi sent advanced disciples to ambush here early in the morning. Just waiting for her to come. Yunwu frowned slightly. Miss Yun, please welcome our lord. The man who just opened his mouth, looking at the Cloud Dance without expression, made a gesture of please. Is the hidden pearl useless in their eyes? Originally, I thought it was a treasure to protect my life, but I didn't expect that it was useless in front of these sectarian disciples. It really made me feel bad. However, Yunwu doesn't know that the hidden bead is a treasure in the human world, but in the fairyland, it is just a useful shield for the lower self-cultivation people. What if I don't? Cloud Dance see hidden bead useless, also can only remove the hidden bead, appear in front of the man. The pretty disciple, after Yunwu appeared, still replied without expression, "If Yunwoo girl doesn't cooperate, then we can only offend more." After that, a white light flitted by, and the cold touch appeared on both wrists with a trace of heaviness. Handcuffs. When Yunwoo looks down and sees the extra handcuffs on his wrist, the sense of crisis at the bottom of his heart drives the idea of breaking free. I advise Miss Yun not to have the idea of breaking free from the immortal lock. The immortal lock is a treasure of the immortal level. Once you want to break free, the immortal lock will automatically enter the full mode state. At that time, Miss Yun will not look very good. The whole mode will develop into a state of whole body binding. It's really overqualified to use the immortal level treasure to deal with a woman with low accomplishments, but it's such a woman that the whole sect spent almost all the disciples searching for her for more than half a month. Since your patriarch asked me to come over, would you be too embarrassed to use handcuffs? Cloud Dance frowned and raised her hands to them with a pair of handcuffs that gave off light white light. That's what they call Shinsuo. I think your lord didn't embarrass me, did he? How can I say that I am the mother of the son of light in your mouth? This is how you treat the mother of the son of light. Cloud Dance willow eyebrow a pick, smiling at 4 people, but the language of indifference is very obvious. Now, she is completely in a passive state. She can only try her best to break away from such a passive situation. Otherwise, I'm afraid there is really no way out. After hearing this, the 4 people looked at each other, and there seemed to be a flicker of hesitation in their plainness. The Lord has an order. If Miss Yunwoo doesn't cooperate, we can work together to invite Miss Yunwoo back by non-means. The man headed by the 4 said calmly. Cloud Dance is a faint smile, no cooperation. Do you think I'm not cooperative now? This is a crime imposed on you. I don't know that you will be your master later. Can I appeal to you? The cool air changed into a lazy appearance. 4 people slightly frowned at Yunwoo. They knew that she was trying to be reasonable, but they couldn't really follow the common people in the human world. It's too disreputable. The suzerain wanted them to use certain means to forcibly take people back under certain circumstances. But just as Yunwoo said, she is the mother of the son of light. Even if she really wants to fight and escape, they can't hurt her at all. If she doesn't look at the monk's face and the Buddha's face, it can be said that the mother's son is expensive. In addition, she is still secure. Finally, the 4 of them looked at each other and secretly passed some information to each other, then they evacuated the immortal lock in Yunwoo's hands. Well, Miss Cloud Dance, this way, please. Behind the hall of 3, 1 leads the way, dancing in the middle, towards the path leaving the Black Point area. Even if Cloud Dance wants to get rid of this situation, it finds that there is no chance at all. Because she found that there were 2 guards not far away from each fork of the lane they were taking her along. There are 2 people at each fork, and this black corner is the most mixed place in the whole city, and the area is also the most complex with the most lanes. Unexpectedly, Yuzi used so many disciples to catch her. Cloud Dance immediately don't know as for his attention should smile or should cry, as for. After a stick of incense. 5 people around from the black corner lane came out, and outside the lane, a carriage that looked very exquisite stopped there. In addition, there were more than a dozen disciples in uniform white robes waiting. Even in the dark, there were many onlookers. When I saw the Cloud Dance coming out, the whispering voices around me spread wave after wave. Who is this? How can we send out the closed-door disciples from the sect of the Patriarch? Who knows, but if you can let the Patriarch send out his own disciples, I'm afraid that the girl will come out of the black corner. Maybe she's the villain from somewhere. I don't think this girl is in her early 20s. She shouldn't be a villain. How can we see from the surface that the appearance of our immortals can follow our own cultivation? It's not easy for you to return to the appearance of 18 years old. It is. The sound of discussion, not big or small, did not avoid anything. As for the comments of the onlookers, the disciples of Yugwashin seem to be deaf. They all have light and cold expressions. They are all dressed in white, expressionless and unattainable indifference. Maybe those are the special identity marks of their so-called Yugwashin disciples. After all the people in this city are aiming at the disciples of Yugoshin, but they are above them. It is inevitable that they are arrogant. I got into the carriage. Cloud Dance can't help but sweep an eye inside the carriage, eyebrows slightly wrinkly for a while, but very quickly but restored indifferent languid. This carriage is very exquisite from the outside, but inside it, iron pillars are reinforced all around. Although it has been decorated and covered up, it can be seen from a glance that this is a decorated cage. Damn it. Originally, he planned to see if he could get on the carriage for a while, and then on the way to see if he could get away from the carriage. But unexpectedly, Yuzugi entertained her in the carriage cage. However, Yunwoo didn't know that in the eyes of many people in Yugoshin, she was too evasive. She not only slipped from their eyes, but also searched for more than half a month by the elders and most of Yugoshin's disciples. It was not easy to catch her. Can you ignore it? No matter what method this woman uses, it is absolutely not simple that she can avoid their search. But although Yunwoo was angry, she was still so calm on the surface. As soon as Yunwoo sat down on the carriage, another white figure followed him and sat on the side of Yunwoo. Then, he took out a small table with several exquisite snacks on it. Miss Yun, please. Pour on a cup of hot tea, the disciple of the car said calmly, and then sat on one side as the scenery without expression. At this time, the car started to move. I don't know if it's because the road here is too smooth, or because of the carriage. I don't feel bumpy in the car, but I feel a slight walk. Yunwoo looked at the man beside him, then at the hot tea and snacks in front of him. Well, she can't escape. Then she'll see what Yuzugi wants to do. However, while Yunwoo was glad she didn't bring her children out, she was also worried about whether the man would have a purpose for her children. The worry that flashed in my heart was naturally covered up very well. I just heard from those people that you are the disciples of the patriarch. What faction of disciples do you belong to? Is it too much of a fuss for your patriarch to make such a big noise to arrest such a weak woman as me? In a leisurely and carefree mood, the hot tea was on the small table. Of course, it's the man in the carriage. The disciple didn't intend to open his mouth, but when he saw her eyes shining with dark meteors, he said unconsciously, Yugoshin is one of the most important schools in the light department of Fairyland, and there are tens of thousands of disciples among them. Naturally, the clan needs to be managed by different departments, and we belong to the clan leader, the chief disciple of the sect, but since the unknown patriarch came to power, no one has ever been able to slip away from our patriarch. You not only let us send out most of the disciples, but also let the patriarch himself. You. When talking about the name of the chief disciple, there was a trace of arrogance in the man's eyes. But soon, before he finished, the man's body froze, his face changed, and his pretty face seemed to flash a touch of vigilance. Dementor. How dare this woman use that low-level Dementor on him? And he's still affected? Looking at the man whose face changed, Yunwoo was shocked. She used the most powerful Dementor when he didn't pay attention to her and wasn't on guard. She thought that even though the time was not long, it would be okay for at least a few minutes, but she didn't expect to wake up in less than a minute. Once again, Cloud Dance has to pay attention to its own strength. These people are just disciples of a sect, and their strength is so terrible. Isn't the strength of the sect leaders even more amazing? You. The man clenched his fist, and a faint white light flashed through his body. I didn't do anything. It's just that my eyes have been affected by the practice of Dementor for a period of time. It's you who stare at me. It's none of my business. As soon as the man opened his mouth, Cloud Dance dropped her eyes, a very light explanation. Now this time, not an excuse will become an excuse. Yunwoo can also see that the chief disciples of the sect leader are powerful and arrogant. Generally speaking, they disdain to quarrel with weak people, which is beneath their status. As a result, they are not good at verbal eloquence. You. Knowing that she is unreasonable, but the man can't find a word for her. Leave you alone. My name is Yunwoo. I think you know. I don't know how to call you. Cloud Dance is still idle. Seeing that she didn't admit it and had a cloud dance that she was completely reasonable, the disciple was very angry and depressed. On weekdays, who dares to tease him like this? This woman, if she was not the mother of the son of light and understood the importance the patriarch attached to her, he would have been unable to help. Hey, you don't want to tell me your name, but I remember there is still a long way to Zongmen. Are you going to stare at me like this? Why don't we just chat? It's a good way to pass the time. In fact, Cloud Dance has always been a cold and indifferent character, never a noisy person. But now, the situation is far more dangerous and passive than when I first came across it. In this case, it's better to restrain my own advantages, create a weak identity as a woman, and paralyze the enemy. As long as the right time, she will take the opportunity to break free from the cage. In Cloud Dance has been constantly chatting, the man's face is more and more ugly. He had never seen a woman who was so wordy. The constant sound in his ears was just like Monk Tang chanting scriptures. It really made people have an impulse to take a needle to seal that mouth. Finally, the man got up and left the carriage while the carriage was still moving forward. Of course, he did not get off the carriage, but sat outside. If he faced the woman in the car again, he would have the urge to kill. Women are terrible creatures. The cultivator of immortals, he has always been pure-hearted and has few desires. It doesn't mean that those who cultivate immortals are not close to women, but they are very few. Even if they are with women, they are only called the partners of the same practitioners. The partner of the same practitioner is not like the human world, which needs the complicated conditions of marriage. It only needs the two sides to feel suitable or mutually beneficial, then they can practice together and become a lifelong partner. Yes, once an immortal cultivator combines with a partner, that name is life. Looks good. All one's life, they are perfectly marked on these immortals. However, only when we know the fairyland clearly can we know the relationship between the partners. Generally speaking, there are few people in the fairyland talking about love and love. They join together to become partners, but only for mutual benefit. Or, to carry on the family line. However, there are few cases of succession. After all, the higher your accomplishments, the longer your longevity. It can almost be said that as long as you continue to practice, you can live for thousands of years or even tens of thousands of years, or even longer. In such a long time to survive, succession has become so insignificant. Therefore, among the numerous people in the fairyland, those who cultivate immortals prefer to practice alone. Double cultivation means that in the future, one side will bear the burden of the other side's cultivation progress, especially when one side encounters a bottleneck, the other side will also be affected, and at the same time, the other side will stay in cultivation. This is a very serious situation for those who cultivate immortals. In this way, in fact, the cultivators of immortals are really without feelings, almost without the complex feelings of the so-called mortals. But it is because of this that their progress in cultivating talent will surpass that of ordinary people and become higher-level immortals above human beings. So, no wonder that disciple can't stand the noise of Cloud Dance. After the disciple left the carriage, Yunwu suddenly converged and became lazy. A sharp cold light flashed from the star's eyes, and the whole person seemed to have changed into a person in an instant. But this situation was soon covered up. Cloud Dance is very clear, although the man out of the carriage, but I'm afraid they will not relax to watch themselves, but they sense so many people to catch themselves, it's self-evident that they attach importance to it. However, what makes Yunwu confused is that from the beginning of catching her, these people didn't seem to have asked the whereabouts of their children at all. Aren't they in a hurry to find children? Or have they sent someone else to look for it? Not to mention, the fact is really in the cloud. Soon after Yuzi was arrested by Yunwu, he knew the situation and immediately ordered someone to take Yunwu back to the ancestral gate. Then, he sent someone to search every corner of the city except the area of Black Point. Yunwu has been arrested, so it's not difficult to find children. Even if there is that poor cub, it is absolutely impossible to slip away from under his eyelids. West of the city. This is a quiet area at night, at least not as noisy as those chaotic markets. But tonight, the whole city is full of lights and noise. Even in the western part of the city, there was a lot of activity at this time. Inside, the man, who was sleeping soundly, suddenly felt something and suddenly opened his eyes. There was a dark flash in his dark eyes, which had never been affected much. I didn't expect that if I asked her to go out, it would also cause trouble. It's really worrying. That murmur sound seemed to just say to oneself, listen to. He got up, grabbed his clothes and put them on his body. Then he turned around and left the room and went to the other room. The little potato in the room has recovered a lot. However, since Cloud Dance left, it didn't dare to relax its vigilance at all. Let's not say that little fat girl, who is not sensible but also mischievous, is the man in the next room, which also reassures you. When Cloud Dance is around, it naturally doesn't have to worry. Now when Cloud Dance is not around, it certainly has to act as a protector. Suddenly, the door was opened from the outside. Small Potato's small body suddenly took off in front of the bed with the little fat girl behind the young master. Gabble. After a murmur, the little potato flashing wings, a white barrier to resist in front, a pair of vigilance, looking at the man who came in from the house. Don't worry, even if I want to do something to you, I won't choose to make trouble in my own territory. The man glanced at the boy and girl's baby on the bed. His deep eyes were low, and there was an undercurrent in the deep, but it was covered up very well. Murmur. Don't come here, little potato is staring at the man. The people who search outside will be here soon. If you don't want to be arrested, be obedient. The man went straight through the white light wall of the little potato barrier, went directly to the bed and bent over to wrap the young master. As for the little fat girl, he took a look at her and put her in his arms with a big hand. Goo goo. Little potato flies forward, trying to stop it. But it's strange that any attack on him by little potato is like a stone sinking into the sea, which can't stir up any ripple. If Cloud Dance sees this scene on one side at this time, I'm afraid it will be absolutely terrified. Duh. Little fat girl obviously felt something was wrong. She waved the little pink fist and struggled to death, but she was afraid of hurting her brother. She could only gnaw and bite at the man holding her. But don't say her teeth haven't come out yet. Even if they are full length, I'm afraid that if I break them, I can't hurt this man. Gabble. Little potato red eyes, the more noise, the bigger. The man's brow was deeply locked. He couldn't bear it. His sharp eyes swept his eyes. The frosted voice entered a kind of vacuum and strange majesty. You're making trouble for me, I'll strangle them both. Threat. Yes, little potato is threatened, and, after the man's words fall, little potato stares at the man with red eyes, but no longer dare to make noise. It doesn't know what the man's purpose is, but it can't let anything happen to Yunwoo's two children. But, damn it, there's nothing it can do to get the baby back. Seeing that little potato was settled, the man turned and walked to the corner of the dresser in the room. Wang! I don't know where he moved, then he saw that the wall in the corner suddenly moved away. The heavy stone door, opened very slowly, sounds very heavy. But when the stone door was opened, except for a gap, the man waved his hand. The stone door was completely opened, and the man immediately walked in with his two children, followed by little potato. After two small, one big and one beast came in, the stone gate closed and turned around. There was no difference from the outside. Goo goo. Little potato flew behind the man, looking around curiously. This is a secret room. It's very spacious. The furnishings inside are similar to those outside. There are beds, dressing tables and so on. However, this place exudes an inexplicable pressure from every corner. As soon as the little potato entered, he felt uncomfortable all over. The feeling of little fat girl is much more obvious than that of little potato. As soon as she entered the secret room, she felt very uncomfortable, as if she was oppressed by a big stone and had some difficulty in breathing. Without her mother, she went into such a place. Even though she was more intelligent than her age, she was just a little baby who had just been born. Naturally, she began to cry. However, after entering the secret room, the man didn't seem to care about her crying. After putting her on the bed of the secret room, he took the little boy who was staring at him with round eyes from beginning to end and didn't cry and didn't make any noise and walked to the other side of the soft collapse. Small Potato see little fat girl cry, quickly fly past, poochie around little fat girl, try to use their own strength, to reduce the pressure on her body's strange breath. In the secret room, full of baby crying, Small Potato's cooing comfort sound. But it doesn't affect the man sitting on the soft floor, holding the baby boy. I haven't heard you cry for several days. You are the son of light. Mumbling, the man said to the baby boy in his arms. The wrapped baby boy is just a full moon, pink and white, probably because he didn't absorb enough nutrition in his stomach, so he wasn't fat. At first glance, it is just pink, small, weak, giving people inexplicable pity and love. The young master didn't seem to understand the man's words, but his big round eyes turned around, which was very smart. It's said that the Son of Light will be reborn once every 10,000 years. He has the wisdom that ordinary people in the three realms can't reach. What should you do this time? Your mother is in a lot of trouble this time. The man murmured, like to himself, but also like to ask the baby in his arms. If you look at this scene in other people's eyes, I'm afraid that this man will have something wrong. Haha, that's right. When you were born, you obviously didn't absorb enough energy, and you were born with the son of darkness. It's not surprising that you were affected. Just don't know. If the patriarch knew this situation, would he make a big noise like now? However, if he knew that you were all in my hands, what would he look like? Haha, I really want to see his expression. Behind this sentence, the man's deep tone, suddenly caught a strange smile. If Cloud Dance is here, I'm afraid it will turn white. Who is this man? It's a pity that there are two babies in this secret room, only Little Potato. Although Little Potato has a lot of wisdom, it can't get rid of it. It's a beast and a cub. It's hard to understand the complex species of human. On the other side, Yunwu, who was escorted by the mighty disciples, finally returned to the sect of Yuguishan in about half an hour. Zongmen Hall. At this time, no one was seen in the spacious hall. After Yunwu was sent into the hall, the chief disciples retreated. Therefore, in the whole hall, there is only one person named Yunwu. The layout of the main hall is very unique and brilliant, but it doesn't seem luxurious. Cloud Dance walks slowly towards the hall, but the star eye is flashing vigilant undercurrent, sweeping around, almost every corner of the income fundus. I just want to see if I can find out what's weak. But I don't know whether the Cloud Dance is too engrossed, or the visitors are too unpredictable. When Yuzigi appeared on the hall, Yunwu didn't realize when he appeared and how long he appeared. This makes Yunwu feel scared and dignified again. Miss Yunwu, I see you again. Are you satisfied with the layout of the hall? Quite indifferent but dignified voice came from the hall. A white-robed jade belt, with a detached atmosphere of the relegated immortal Uzigui, at this time the corners of his mouth micro-strip up a trace of radiance, looking at the Cloud Dance, very ordinary conversation. Satisfied? The Cloud dances and hears the words, conceals the inner emotion fluctuation, and maintains the apathy without emotion on the surface. However, seeing him smile, she also pulled the corner of her mouth and said with a smile, "This is the main hall of Yuguishan sect. How can a little girl make a false comment on it?" However, the sect leader made a fuss. Even her chief disciple sent it out, which made the little girl jump. Looking at the Cloud Dance which conceals the emotion without flaw, Yuzi can't help looking at the young woman more. Miss Yunwu, don't worry. I don't mean to hurt her. It's just a measure in a hurry. Master Yu, I'm here now. Let's talk about the purpose directly. However, if you want to ask questions about children, you may be disappointed. Looking at this person with the official tone-like posture, Yunwu inexplicably impatient. Guangming department, to put it mildly, is decent. However, Yunwu will never forget the ruthlessness of these people when they want to kill her daughter. Since Miss Yunwu said so, I wonder if Miss Yunwu could answer the next few questions. Don't worry, it's nothing to do with children. Jade's son returned stares at Cloud Dance to ask away. Cloud Dance didn't answer. Jade's son returned when she acquiesced. When I first saw the girl, I felt something strange about her. It didn't seem that she came from fairyland. And now from the girl's breath, is she from the human world? It's only during this time that we can find out the relationship between human world and fairyland. However, there is nothing to hide about this problem. After all, the atmosphere of human world is different from that of fairyland. Especially after the sorcery power in her body disappears, the human breath in the human world is more obvious. Well, yes. I don't know, what is the identity of Yunwu girl in the human world? Identity? Cloud Dance's tiny Cu eyebrow saw an eye. Jade's son return one eye. Conjecture he asked the purpose of this problem is what? It's just an ordinary family. Do you think there's something wrong with the little girl? Yuzigi said with a smile, the problem is that there is no problem, but I feel very curious. After all, people in the human world want to enter the fairyland, but it's not just across the boundary of space. Speaking of this, Yuzigi's eyes were obviously deep. And hearing this, how can Cloud Dance not know its meaning? However, how did she enter the fairyland at the beginning? She didn't know, but what she knew was that night, it could never be the light system. From the behavior of that first night, he would not give up. If in this fairyland, the light system is opposite to the dark system, I don't know, can she start to look for some opportunities? Think of here, the Cloud Dance star eye secretly twinkled a glimmer of streamer, extremely fast, almost a flash. I think master you wanted to ask, how did I enter the fairyland? The Cloud Dances, the corners of the mouth are slightly picked, and there is a trace of cunning between the eyebrows and eyes. The exquisite facial features are beautiful, and with such clever cunning, they add a charm, which is even more moving. As long as a man can't help looking more. Yuzi Gui, with her eyebrows raised, flashed dark in her deep eyes, but her handsome face didn't show too much emotion. Is there anything inconvenient for Yunwu girl to say? She said quietly. It's not convenient to say. If she said it was inconvenient to answer, he would not ask. Yunwu sneered in his heart, but the emotion that should be covered up was very good. It's not inconvenient, but even I don't know why I came into the fairyland. It's just a man who calls himself Night, and takes me into a place full of darkness. Then I run away to your place and meet you. At the end of the day, the twinkling star's eyes swept him. He should understand the meaning. She is not so high as to be able to enter the fairyland, but someone has brought her in, and this person is from the dark faction. The Jade's son returns to smell speech, the eyebrow peak a Cu, a sharp light from that deep eye bottom flits by, the body breath also produced a silk change. The place of darkness? You mean the land of the mafia? Yunwu shrugged, I don't know if it's the place of the dark system. After all, I don't know about your fairyland, but that man really uses the power of darkness. I'm not sure, but the last sentence is affirmative. When Yuzigi heard this, he couldn't hear it. The only thing he thought of was that someone in the dark department had already heard about the birth of the dark sun. Before the son of light, there was no sign of the birth of the son of darkness. No wonder there was no news about the son of darkness. I'm afraid that the people from the dark clique have already acted secretly. If it is not the birth of the son of light, and he discovers the existence of the son of darkness, then the consequences will be after thinking. Yuzi's expression didn't change too much, but the calmness of her eyes was gradually replaced by her inexplicable sharp spirit. The birth of the son of darkness does not represent the problem of the two schools of darkness and light. What is more serious is the rumor handed down 10,000 years ago. If the rumor comes true, it will not be acceptable to the three circles. No, the son of darkness must not stay. We must solve it before the dark faction comes. Where do you live in the city now? Yuzigi stares at Yunwu and asks. The Cloud Dances the mouse sun tiny am I, the corner of the mouth curls up the radiant to die a touch of ice cold, isn't the person of Jade Lord found me in black cape? Yuzigi understood that she would not speak. But I think that there are dark people sneaking into the city, and this woman doesn't seem to know the seriousness of the situation. Yuzi's heart inexplicably flashed behind the irritability. Miss Yun may still be thinking that I didn't understand the behavior of the Son of Darkness last time, but the terrible consequences are really too big. I really can't worry too much. Would you please bring the child back first? Terrible consequences. In front of these so-called Guangming sects, there seems to be a lot of so-called right and wrong in the world. But in her eyes, all the people in the world are bullshit, only she is the biggest. What if I don't? Cloud dance, expressionless face. Jade's sun return eyebrow deep lock, I bottom undercurrent in cold meaning deepen, if Cloud girl really so stubborn, that I can only unreasonable. Originally, before he knew that the Son of Darkness was being watched by the Dark Department, he could be patient and slow. But now Yuzigue suddenly raised his white robe to brush it, and a strong and oppressive airstream immediately went to the cloud dance. At that moment, Yunwoo was aware of it and reacted quickly. But unexpectedly, no matter how fast she reacted, she found that she was still less than 1/10 of his. When the fierce white light enveloped her, Yunwoo realized that the whole Yuzi-Gui had never used his real strength when he faced her from the beginning. At this time, I'm afraid it's not all his real strength. But she had no resistance at all, which was both frightening and frightening. Miss Yun, it's impolite. As soon as his low voice fell, Yunwoo felt that his head was stabbed in half by something, and a sharp pressure from the spirit filled the whole skull. At first, it's like needling, and then it's like digging in like a knife. At last, it's like there are countless sharp blades cutting from one piece to another in my mind. It's very painful. It's really painful. It's too painful. But the pain is the second, after the pain, it is more intense pressure drilling. For a moment, Yunwoo felt that his head was no longer his own. Sweat soaked all over the clothes, black eyes are rapidly congested, a trace of scarlet, tendons jump, face pale. The pain lasted only 3 minutes, but for Cloud Dance, it seems to be as long as half a century. The whole body seems to be in a state of unconsciousness. In the white light, Yunwoo's face was pale, and he could not see any blood color at all. His body, which had been strained because of pain, was gradually relaxed because of the reduction of the strength that pierced into his mind. With the relaxation, I can see that the white light around the cloud dance begins to transform into fragments of illusion. It's really like a movie. The pictures are vivid. From the beginning of the modern Earth, different clothes, different looks of cloud dance, different cognitive life. Every paragraph is so clear that I can see it clearly. From the memory of the beginning of the segment, into the organization of helplessness, confusion, to finally be merciless special training, trampling countless corpses step-by-step growth. If Cloud Dance can wake up at this time and see everything under the white light, I'm afraid it won't look good. Those are all the previous lives in Yunwoo's memory. At this time, she is being stripped naked in front of others, without reservation. From the beginning, she has all the memories, including the first menarche, the first development, the first killing, these are the secrets that even the closest dragon Qingxian never told her. But now, it is completely stripped away by Yuzi-Gui. Yuzigi looks at the picture that is not in recognition at all. The woman with a different face from the one in front of her eyes is naive, at a loss, growing up and changing. Deep eyes also can't help flashing over a touch of surprise undercurrent. Her origin, however, just under his inner surprise, the picture also died in the last life and turned into the weak Miss Yun Jiajiu. And the picture goes to this world. The picture of memory also starts from the edge of the cliff when she wakes up. Left on the cliff, besieged by the beasts, Bai Lao wakes up, drinks the blood of the beast, meets Long Qingxie, the Cloud family and the Queen plot, meets Nanganji, Murong Laotai's rescue, many experiences of life and death, until the appearance of the Beast Gate. That scene, with the movie play again, from the beginning to the end, from Cloud Dance through to the beginning of the world, bit by bit began to emerge while being forced into the coma by powerful mental force. Her memory is stolen and stripped away, and her dream is also forced to recall bit by bit. After 2 generations, she also found that she had experienced so much all the way. And those memories are so precious. But at this time, is being a little bit of stripping peep. How is this mood? Cloud Dance can't describe that kind of anger. Yes, at this moment, in the dream of Cloud Dance, she vaguely understands the situation at this time. However, she can only passively turn out her memory. She knew that Yuzigi wanted to find out her origin from her memory and the whereabouts of her child. And once caught, she knows what will happen. The reason for all this is that she is not strong enough. If she is strong enough, why should she be afraid of these people and hide? Long Qingxie, where are you dead? Unable to break free from being manipulated by the memory of the dream, Yunwu that only keep the deep heart, cannot help but angry roar Dark Cloud Palace. In a magnificent and towering hall, sitting on the training mat, Dragon Qingxie, who is in the process of breathing adjustment and consolidation, suddenly seems to hear something. His tall and straight body suddenly froze. The next second, he suddenly turned back and looked behind him. No. There is no cloud dancing. However, he just felt as if he had heard her voice. Long Qingxie suddenly felt restless, as if there was a candle burning him in his heart. He was very uncomfortable, but he didn't know the source. Is she here? Fairyland. When he was caught and forced to clean his memory, he knew everything here bit by bit. But even though he has been here for almost a year, he has never really stepped out of the Dark Cloud Palace. In fact, many times in the dark, he wanted to explore this place, but he found that as long as he went to the place, soon there would be someone blocking or following him. In name, he is the noble, adult, Dark Emperor among all the people. If his memory is really washed away, maybe he will think that it is. But his memory didn't disappear. He knew exactly what had happened. These people are in control of him. In the mode of puppet, I want to completely control his actions behind his back. Moreover, in addition, I'm afraid they've made some moves in his body. Although he has a lot of talent cultivation now, and the progress of cultivation is amazing, we can see from the above that those people have done something in his body while transforming his body. That's why, not long after he appeared, someone would follow him out. But what is their purpose? Is it to give him the name of Dark Emperor? Just to fight with the Guangming faction? No, I don't think it's that simple. Originally, Long Qingxie planned to see if they could find out what was in their body, since they could not get rid of the Dark Cloud Palace for the time being. Otherwise, even if he fled here and returned to Yunwu, he would be afraid of the consequences. He didn't want to bring the crisis to her anymore. Whenever he thought of the situation that Yunwu wanted to break away when he was covered by the black screen barrier, the pain in his heart could not be suppressed. But today, I don't know why, I suddenly feel very uneasy, as if something is happening. And it's about her. Thinking of this, the dragon could not calm down. He turned around and walked out of the hall quickly, intending to follow his intuition and walk quickly in a certain direction. Just not surprisingly, just after he stepped out of the hall, two maids in white came respectfully. What can I do for you, my lord? Long Qingxie frowned and glanced at the two people. Although they were agitated at the bottom of their heart, they didn't show too much abnormality in their behavior. Magnetic low and dignified voice, said without emotion, nothing to command, but want to come out to breathe. Long Qingxie didn't let them go down, because even if he let them leave, it was estimated that someone would follow them in the dark. In this case, it's better to follow them in the land of light. After that, Long Qingxie walked towards the path to the south of the main hall. He didn't know why he was upset and restless, but he always felt that it was related to Cloud Dance, and the position that made him so upset came from the south. Along the way, over rockery, promenade, lawn, arch bridge, even training ground all the way to the high outer wall of the gate of the Dark Cloud Palace. Looking at the scarlet wall, the restlessness of Dragon's eyes became more and more obvious. It's in that direction. It must be her. It must be her. How did she come to Fairyland? Did you come to him? Or did she get caught, too? The more he thought about it, Long Qingxie didn't find that the agitation in his body was more and more obvious. Even the two maids standing behind him could clearly feel his abnormal breath. The two maids looked at each other and sent a message from each other's eyes. Then the maid on the right stepped forward and asked respectfully, "What's wrong, my lord?" The sudden sound wakes the dragon. Dayton time, that originally seems to burst out of emotion, instant time like sinking into the calm sea, to the thrilling surge, to calm without waves. For the time being, he can't let these people detect his abnormality. The tall and straight figure stood quietly facing the wall. The emotion on his face made the two people behind him unable to see clearly. However, his abnormal breath had disappeared without a trace, which made people mistakenly think it was an illusion. Half a ring. Long Qingxie turned his head expressionless, and his handsome face looked very dignified because of his merciless solemnity. He glanced at the two maids behind him. It's nothing. I just feel some abnormal breath in this direction, so come and have a look. Strange smell. The two maids looked at each other in secret. We have to report this situation immediately. By the way, I don't know what's outside this wall. The walls are at least 5 meters high, and nothing can be seen. It seems that the question of dragon's inclination to evil is just a common question. A maid respectfully replied, outside the wall is a cliff, which is why the high wall is built here. Yes. That's strange. In this sentence, Long Qingxie is like talking to himself. Another maid replied, perhaps the difference that adults feel is just the light from the interface. The breath of light? Is our dark cloud palace very close to the intersection of the light system? Dragon Qing evil pick eyebrow, very strange like inquiry. No, our dark cloud palace is on the Wanzhong cliff. It's just located at the intersection of the spirit forest. There is a torrent river between them. The spirit forest is located in a forest continent where the light system and the dark system are balanced. The breath in the forest coexists with the breath of darkness and light, so you can occasionally feel the light in this position. It's normal. So this south side, through the elf forest, is the region of the light system? The maid nodded, yes, my lord. The region of the light system. Is cloud dancing in the region of light system? However, if she really went to the Guangming department and was arrested, which sect of the Guangming department was it? By the way, Yuguishan. It is said that Yuguishan is one of the top 2 schools of Guangming coefficient. Half a month ago, the Dark Cloud Palace, in the name of his Dark Emperor, said that he would visit in a month. Maybe, this is an opportunity for him. Half a month to go. Yunwu, if you really find it, please wait for me. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. At the same time, Yuguishan Hall. Looking up the memory, we have come to the Battle of the Beast Gate, the long march, the friendship at the moment of life and death, the love willing to sacrifice for each other, the completion of Bai Lao, the warm reconstruction behind the scenes, and even the day before the wedding banquet when she fell in love with Long Qingxie. Black light, strange dark clouds, lovers forced to separate, Dark Cloud Palace? Unexpectedly, the people in the Dark Cloud Palace have extended their hands to the human world. When he saw the situation the day before the wedding, Yuzi Gui's face suddenly changed. However, when he continued to look down, Yuzigi's face began to be dignified gradually. Especially when I saw the appearance of the knight, the dignification between Yuzi's eyebrows could not be concealed. That person is what Cloud Dance calls knight. At that time, why can't even he see who he is? But it can bring the mortals into the fairyland, and also lead to the pursuit of the 4 holy spirits. It can be seen from this that the man named Knight is not small. However, from Zhang Yuzigui, we can see that the target of pursuing the 4 holy spirits of night and cloud dance is still the son of darkness. It seems that even the 4 holy spirits have appeared, and the relevant personnel in the rumor have emerged one after another. Is history going to repeat itself? Eyebrow deep lock, the eye ground originally sharp eye sun becomes deep incomparable. This time, Yuzi did not continue to look at the picture under the white light, but looked at the cloud dance with pale face in the white light. Her life, no, should be 2 lives. What she has experienced is far beyond what he imagined. Just such a woman, from defenseless to murderous and invisible, the change of her mood is what makes her today. People's appearance and body is just a body. What can really shock people is the soul in the body. Soul from another time and space. Unique and headache. Looking at the cloud dance, the jade sun returns to the bottom of the eye to once again flicker to pass a complex streamer. However, compared with the complexity of Yuzigi's inner floating at this time, he was forced to immerse himself in his sleep and open the cloud dance of memory, but his inner anger was more and more intense. This is a naked invasion. All the memories of the two generations, just like peeling onions, are completely peeled off and exposed bit by bit, which is just like the secret being openly peeped at, which makes people feel extremely disgusted and angry. If it goes on like this, it will be her memory of meeting that slovenly man. And once the memory is opened, the child's whereabouts no, he can't find the baby. Her children must not be used by others, absolutely not in the white light, originally unconscious, such as the cloud dancing in deep sleep. Suddenly his body shakes, and his weak hands on both sides shake, as if trying to break through the dream. It didn't fluctuate much at first, but as she resisted with more and more perseverance, the white light enveloping her seemed to be shaken, and the picture outside the white light began to become distorted. Yuzigi's original complex heart was slightly surprised by her sudden change. Is she conscious? No one has ever been able to maintain consciousness under his method of reading and memorizing. Even if the cultivation can reach the same level with him, it is absolutely impossible to resist under his mental pressure, unless her mental power surpasses him. But it's impossible. If his mental power surpasses her, she won't be oppressed by his mental power and get involved in her mind at the beginning.